special, and you would hope in your career you have a chance to play in something like that. And you know, you get the tingles just thinking about it. You know, you never know.
It's something that I've dreamt about and thought about continuously since I was about 5 years old.
It means like the world, you know. It's like everybody's focused in on you. Everybody in Canada's watching you. It's just a great feeling.
You know, holding the cup over my head and just the camaraderie in the locker room after, you know, you can't beat that.
The following is a live presentation of CBC Sports.
The CFL on CBC presents Semi-Final Sunday. The first leg on the journey to the Cup. The East Semi Final. The Owls host the Lions. Today, Damon Allen will be called upon to stop a BC free fall. If his passes fall into the right hands, Alfred Jackson can help restore their roar. In Montreal, football fans are warming to a rekindled Tracy Ham. He's gaining momentum, and he's partnered with the CFL's leading authority on the ground game, Mike Pringle. On defense, Alfred Payton has quenched a late-season thirst for quarterback.
Montreal #1, baby. What's up?
Then do up your chin strap. Game 2, the West Semi, Saskatchewan versus Calgary. Mike Saunders carries the mail, but can he deliver Saskatchewan's first win in Calgary this decade? Nose tackle John Kropke is at the hub of the Saskatchewan strength. Defense. In Calgary, the Stamps are peaking, and the ascent of Jeff Garcia has reached outstanding proportions. And when Kelvin Anderson runs free, the Stamps usually always win. It's sudden death. The loser goes home. Molson Stadium alive with the pulse of CFL football for the first time in 25 years. Today, the Alouettes expect their biggest day of the season as they play the BC Lions in the East Semi Final. Then, back-to-back Game 2 of our playoff doubleheader, the West Semi Final here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Stampeders play host to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Good afternoon and welcome to the CFL on CBC. I'm Mark Lee, and this is Semi-Final Sunday, the start of the most exciting time of the year in Canadian professional football. And it all begins in Montreal with a homecoming of sorts for the Alouettes. They're going back to old Molson Stadium, the site of a rose-colored era in Alouette football. A scheduling conflict at the Big O has forced them out and into their old haunts, and it might turn out to be a blessing in disguise. For more on that, let's go to Don Whitman and Chris Walby.
Well, Mark, it is a great atmosphere, and it brings back a lot of pleasant memories for the older football fans of this city. But I know, Chris Walby, you love this atmosphere at Molson Stadium.
This is unbelievable. I'm talking about right now, open roof, wind blowing through, what little hair I have, the smell, the tailgates outside, people enjoying the energy. You can just feel it in here. There's a great aura about it. This is what it's all about, and this is why I love it.
This is a game of historic significance, the first time that a Western team has ever played in an Eastern semifinal. And you feel, Chris, that a former teammate of yours in Winnipeg, John Hufnagel, on the sidelines with the BC Lions for his second game, might have a role this afternoon.
I think it's a great move by Adam Reid of bringing a guy like John Hufnagel in. One of the things he does is his ability to make changes on the go, and that's what's happening. BC has been stymied a little bit. They've been a little stale. They need something, a resurgence, if you would, and he's going to bring it to them, and they're going to need John Hufnagel to advance from this game.
Both teams have had problems with penalties this year. The two most penalized teams in the league, they'll have to avoid those red flags.
Well, you know, it hasn't hit Montreal as bad, but BC last week against Calgary, 6 penalties first quarter. It killed drives. You can't afford to do it, and especially in a game of this magnitude.
We're looking for a great football game here at Molson Stadium, an exciting atmosphere, and I'm sure everything will be just as exciting, Mark, at McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
Don, looks like a nice day for football, and Montreal's faithful fans drawn to crumbling old but cozy Molson Stadium for today's East Semi-Final between the Alouettes and the BC Lions. 10 minutes to kick off in the East Semi-Final. The crowd filing in, and memories of Sam Etcheverry, George Dixon, Red O'Quinn as we look at old Molson Stadium, where the Lions will play the Alouettes today in the beginning of our CFL doubleheader. As we welcome here our game day guest for our coverage here today, Jeff Reinbold, the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Jeff, you beat the BC Lions. You matched up well this year with the Montreal Alouettes. I mean, you had your 4 best losses of the season against those guys. What do you like about the matchup?
Well, I think it's going to be a great matchup of the most physical, dominant offensive line in the league, Montreal's, against a undersized but very athletic defensive line at BC. Fleming, Chaters, Johnny Scott, Virgil Robertson, those guys have got to play well. They've got to protect Kelly Lockbaum inside. BC lost David Maeva this week to an injury. They're going to counter with Donnie Wilson inside as a linebacker along with Mo Kelly. So they're small but athletic. I think they're going to have to blitz to stop the run. On the other hand, they've been decimated by injuries all year, and it's going to hurt their kicking game. But on offense, Damon's a Showtime player. AJ's a Showtime player. They make a few plays. I think they can stay in the game.
I was going to ask you, what do you think's going on inside their helmets right now? 4 losses in a row to end the season. 6 of the last 7 were losses. That's not the way you want to go into the playoffs.
Well, that's not the momentum that you want to have going into the playoffs. But again, I think Adam, having been there before, having won a game at a Grey Cup championship, he knows what it takes. Damon's been there. They've got some veterans on that football team. Chuck Bradley, some guys that have been around this league and know what it takes to win. So don't feel sorry for the Lions. I don't think it's going to take the ghost of Junior Ayew for Montreal to win, but I do think it's going to be a good football game.
All right, Jeff, stick with us. Coming right up after this football game, of course, is the West Semi here between Calgary and Saskatchewan. Drawing that assignment to call that game, Chris Cuthbert and Dave Archer, and they're full of anticipation. A full 3 hours to game time.
Yeah, Mark, it should be interesting this afternoon. I'm intrigued, Dave, because these two teams arrive at a semifinal game in vastly different ways. Calgary's coming off their best performance of the year, and they thrashed BC, while Saskatchewan, Jeff Reinbold did a number on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It was their worst game of the year. How does that play on the psyche of the Riders?
Well, I think it all goes out the window. This is playoff time, and that all has to go out the window. But if there are lingering effects of the loss for Saskatchewan, the veteran players will have to step up and take care of it.
If there's a common thread between these two teams, it's at running back, because both teams have dangerous threats back there.
They really do. 2 great running backs, 2 of the top running backs in the league. Kelvin Anderson for Calgary. He had another 1,000-yard season, his 2nd consecutive. The Rookie of the Year last year, a big catalyst to what Jeff Garcia wants to do on the Calgary side of the ball offensively. But Mike Saunders might be more important to Saskatchewan. Because of the lack of weapons, Saunders will have to touch the ball 25 times a day and catch the football out of the backfield for Saskatchewan to be successful.
Dave Archer watched the opening, heard the players talk about the Grey Cup. You're pumped now, aren't you?
I'm loving it. This is great. I got chills down my back when I heard Mike Pringle talking about the Cup.
Well, Saskatchewan Roughriders will be interesting today. They've got a big task ahead of them. They have not won at McMahon Stadium in the 90s. That's 14 consecutive losses. Mark?
All right, Chris, the Battle Lions have been drawn for semifinal Sunday here in the CFL as we start it all off with the East Semi in Montreal. It's the Alouettes and the BC Lions. The Big O in the background. It's silent today. They'll play football at Molson Stadium in Montreal with a good crowd and great weather conditions, ready for football.
Back to Molson Stadium in Montreal. Kickoff in this game between the Alouettes and the BC Lions just moments away. And I guess the big thing this afternoon for the BC Lions, Chris, will be attempting to stop Mike Pringle. In the 2 games, both won by Montreal, Pringle ran for 300 yards. You think Kelly Lockbaum slept much last night?
First off, that's an unbelievable amount, 300 yards. And I want to know if Kelly slept, because we saw his first start against Regina. This is a Canadian kid out of northern Arizona. He's excited. He wants to play. He is the quarterback of that defense. He's the middle guy. He's going to have to not only shed the blocks of the offensive line coming to block him, but he's going to have to stop or try and slow down Mike Pringle, because I don't know if he can evidently stop him.
That's one of the keys this afternoon. What about others?
Well, I think some of the game notes for BC is they got to get off to a fast start. Last week they had 10 yards total first down offense. You can't do that. And on defense, they've got to be able to stop Pringle. For Montreal, establish the running game. Let's get Pringle running wild again. And on defense, keep Damon Allen in the pocket, because he ran for 77 yards on him last game.
Lions and the Alouettes just about set to go, but first, let's join Carolyn Corey on the sidelines.
Thanks, John, and there is no question the BC Lions are limping into this playoff game, having gone 2-7 in their last 9 games. And amid the losing, you'd have to expect some kind of dissension among the ranks, and with the Lions, it centers around their quarterback, Damon Allen.
I think Damon's confidence has fallen a little bit. You know, when you're the quarterback and everybody's looking up to you, you're not making the right calls, you're not making the right reads, and people start to question your ability.
You know, the one thing that I think always is brought up, you know, as far as my situation is the leadership qualities, and I you know, I am who I am. You know, I may not be the raw, you know, get in your face, but you know, I really try to go out there and show an example.
It is vital then time that the Lions put their differences aside, because they'll be facing a Montreal Alouette team that finished the season on a high note, beating the Toronto Argonauts. Obviously, then their confidence is pretty high, too. Don?
All right, Carolyn. Well, Damon Allen, I think, is feeling more confident with John Hufnagel on the sidelines, giving him some help in his play selection. Fewer interceptions this year than any quarterback in the league. He was only picked off 11 times, but 7 of those interceptions came in the last 5 games. His boss is Adam Rita, who knows what it's all about. He was an assistant coach here in Montreal with the BC Lions when they won the Grey Cup. Don Matthews, the head man, in 1985. And it was Adam Rita who led the Toronto Argonauts to a Grey Cup championship as the head coach in 1991. Dave Ritchie has also been there before as an assistant. He was a head man with the BC Lions when they won the Grey Cup at home in 1994. So there is a lot of coaching experience, a lot of Grey Cup experience on both sidelines in the form of the head coaches and the assistant coaches. This is only the second game that John Hufnagel has had an opportunity to be on the sidelines working with the BC offense. It's a beautiful day if the rain holds off. The temperature is 16 degrees. Yesterday it was sunny with a high of 18 degrees. It rained overnight, but so far it is dry. Let's hope it stays that way for the balance of the game. The semifinal is underway, and Wright will take it at the 26-yard line. Wright, the speedster, had a big game against Toronto, finds some room, and then he runs out of room as he gets deep into BC territory at the 38-yard line. Donaldson forced him out of bounds. That's a return of 24 yards.
And what a great way to start. I like the fact you got Bernard and Wetmore, two of the big special teams guys, doing a great job blocking. Here's Tracy Ham Stats for the year. 261 completions on 460 attempts, 3,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, and as you said, only 12 interceptions.
They ruled that Wright stepped out of bounds at the 50 of the BC Lions, and that's where the Montreal Alouettes will scrimmage 1st and 10. Handoff inside to Michael Souls, who hasn't been used very much as a ball carrier. As a matter of fact, as a runner, he only touched it 34 times all year.
Well, this is a great way to start. I mean, they're keying Pringle, so give it to the other guy. Here's that offensive line. Azuma KK, Beaton, Sutherland, Dixon, and Big Neil Ford at right tackle. The backs and receivers, Nigel Williams getting us started. Left wide receiver, Milt Coleman. Finally, Armstrong had great games. Pringle and Souls rounding out that fine unit.
You don't suppose that Dave Ritchie had a feeling of history there. Souls played his college football right here on this stadium at the University of McGill-Redmond. He had the first carry, the second one as expected. Pringle picks up the first down, taking it inside the 40-yard line.
Well, we knew they were going to come out and try and establish the run. First 2 plays, let's pound it right at them right now, and this is the guys they're running at right now. Here's the defensive line, Virgil Robinson, Dave Chaters back in the lineup, Johnny Scott and Joe Fleming back to his defensive end position. Linebackers, a big key, B.J. Gallus, Western nominee rookie. On the defensive backs, Humphrey, Lyons, Gale, Ferris, and Holland, who are going to have their work cut out for them.
And they're going to be tested here for Coleman in the end zone. Incomplete. Damian Lyons defending against him. Coleman managed to get a hand on it, but Lyons was able to reach up and pull it away from him at the last instant.
And we talked about running the ball. What happens when you run the ball? You get the guys to come up. The linebackers stay there. Bam, your offensive line has a fun. This is what they want to do. You want to run, so set up the pass. This is what they're doing. They get no pressure. Give Tracy lots of time to sit back there and try and complete a big one down the field to Coleman.
It will be 2nd and 10 for the Als. They are at the BC 38-yard line. Great field position as the result of the opening kickoff return by Chris Wright. 3 receivers wide right. Ham looks in that direction. Now he's flushed out by Robertson. And the Lions are claiming intentional grounding because there was no receiver in the area. Leonard Humphreys quite upset as he complains to the official, but it's ruled an incomplete pass.
And I like what BC did right there. They blitz Maurice Kelly, trying to offset, trying to disrupt Tracy Ham. But Virgil Robinson does a smart thing. He doesn't get caught up the field, so he can fall off the rush, off the blitz if you would, and keep Tracy, or at least get him to make him throw the ball. Don't give him the outside.
So on third down, Terry Baker comes into the ball game to attempt a field goal. He has struggled of late. He's had a couple of games where he was very inconsistent. One of the problems may have been his holder. Jock Climby apparently is going to hold, but there may be a problem with a kicking team.
Well, Baker's had a number of holders. He's had Coleman hold. He's had Climby. He's had Marvin Graves. And that does affect the timing between the snapper, the holder, and the kicker. But all the guys talking to them this week, they are very confident that Terry Baker will kick his way out of any kind of slump he may be in.
Well, it is going to be Graves holding, and Dave Ritchie was telling me yesterday that that has contributed to the problem that Baker has had. He hasn't had Graves through his bad stretch because of an injury. And this kick is low, and it is going to sail into the end zone to Jimmy Cunningham, and Cunningham only needs 1 or 2 blocks, but they don't materialize as he gets it back to about the 11-yard line. So Terry Baker not off to the start he had hoped in this Eastern semifinal. The BC Lions scrimmaging 1st and 10 from their own 12-yard line, and Damon Allen is going to open up, operating from the shotgun. He rolls to his left. Payton has outside contained, but Allen is going to get outside of him, and he'll run it out of bounds at about the 21 or 22-yard line.
Well, that was a little bit different of a rush by Alfred Payton, just kind of squaring up with him, not letting him get to the outside. Here you see Allen's stats: 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 4,653 yards passing. He can do it. He can hurt you in these big-time games.
You had a visit with Payton just prior to coming up to the booth, and he was saying that one of his major concerns was keeping Damon Allen to his inside. That time he didn't. 1st and 10 for the Lions. Pass out into the flat to Cunningham, and Cunningham will be close to another BC first down.
Well, it's a good job, and you can see they're trying to spread it around right there. A little flip pass. Give it to Cunningham. Give him the open field. Let him run. Here's the guys he's working with. And his offensive line. They got some great guys up front right now. They're going to get downfield, get some blocks. What you want happening right there.
They put the ball at the 31-yard line, so it will be 2nd and about 1.5 yards. Jackson comes out wide to the right. This is where the Lions really miss Sean Millington. Damon Allen faked inside, kept himself, but he's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Adam Rita, earlier in the year, referred to Sean Millington, who was out with an injury, as my Diesel.
And you're right. Diesel, a big guy like this coming to the line, he doesn't get stopped very often. On that play, I'm going to tell you what I liked about it. They got Montreal, Stephon Reed back in the lineup, and they're happy to have this guy back because he makes things happen out there.
On 3rd and about 1 yard, initially it appeared as though the Lions might gamble, but Adam Rita had a change of heart and decided to send out the punting unit.
Well, I think this is a smart job by Adam Rita. Good decision right now. Get down, get good coverage, try and pin Montreal deep as he can.
Leo Caravata standing back at his own 17-yard line for this 3rd down kick. An end-over-end kick that bounces to right at the 40. Wright finds a seam. Look out with that great speed, and he's caught from behind. Pulled down by Frank Hemiskern. A 38-yard punt and a 35-yard return by Wright, who has played a significant role in the early stages of this opening quarter at Molson Stadium. Chris Wright is coming off a big game against Toronto last week where he had 151 return yards. He brings this one back 35 yards, and with his opening kickoff return, he's now got 59 yards for this game.
Well, he's number 2 in punt returns in the league with 700 yards, number 4 with kickoff returns. He can do it for you.
This man can do it as well. Mike Pringle, who slipped as he reached the sidelines, and you saw some water fly. That the result of heavy overnight rains here in Montreal. And Pringle, who is back in the lineup after being out last week with sore ribs, gets inside the 30-yard line to about the 28.
And even when it looks like he's being stopped, he's picking up 7 and 8 yards.
40 carries in the 2 games against the BC Lions for 300 yards. High-scoring games. Montreal winning 34-33 here at home and 45-31 at BC Stadium. It's Pringle again. And Pringle appeared to have enough yardage for a first down before being driven back.
And we talked about Lockbaum, the key. They got Michael Souls going to the right. It's a lead. It's supposed to go off right tackle. He cuts it back. Lockbaum stays at home, makes a nice job eliminating that game. That's a good heads-up play by the middle linebacker of the BC Lions there.
They are going to measure to determine whether or not it is a first down. It is just short, but I don't think there's much doubt about what the Montreal Alouettes will do here, Chris.
No, I think when you got 2 weapons, and we saw the first play when they handed off to Souls now, they've created doubt now. Who will they give the ball to? The odds are Pringle, but we never know.
The third down gamble by Montreal. The ball just outside the BC 25-yard line. And it will be Tracy Ham keeping and picking up the first down as he follows the lead block of Mike Sutherland and left guard Bruce Beaton.
Well, big-time surge by that offensive line. They know we're not going to be denied when you just have that little bit of amount to go. Tracy Ham tucks right behind the big boys. That's pretty hard to stop when you're that close to the ball and that close to where you need to go.
Nigel Williams goes wide right. Coleman comes to the left. Pringle, the ball carrier, big hole as Pringle fights his way inside the 15.
Big time running play. They're just coming off the ball. Mark Dixon, Neil Fort, opening up a huge hole, but the lead block, we talk about him time and time, the forgotten man, Michael Souls, does a great job fighting his way through the hole and knocking off Maurice Kelly, allowing Pringle to pick up the extra yards.
66 is Neil Fort, and he is the big man on the right side, 6'7", 310 pounds, has never missed a game as a professional.
You can see right here, they're coming up the ball. There's Fort. There they come right now. He's going to fall as lead blocker. Does a great job. That is a way to attack a defense.
Just inside the 15-yard line, it will be 2nd and inches for Montreal. Souls and Pringle, the 2 backs, lined up behind Tracy Ham. He kept on the 3rd down gamble. Penalty flag, and Ham does not get an opportunity. It looked as though he was rolling out, looking to pass. The referee this afternoon, Bud Steen.
Illegal procedure. Montreal, 62. 2nd down repeated.
The procedure call against left guard Bruce Beaton, who may have pulled out of his stance prematurely.
Well, you know, these guys, they want to get going. You can see him right there. He's just coming off the line. He just goes a little, you know, just anticipates Tracy Ham's snap count.
Dixon over on the right side may also have moved, but it will be 2nd down now and just over 5. The ball back close to the 20-yard line. Ham over ready for Coleman, and Coleman continues fighting to the 2-yard line. Yes, sir!
Well, I'll tell you what is Montreal known for? Throwing to the inside receivers, climbing Armstrong. Lately, they've been stretching the defense now by going to the wide receivers. All they're doing is bringing Mill Coleman underneath. He just slant across the middle. Nobody picks him up. Wham! Quick pass, let him run in the open field. This is what a guy like this likes to do. Nice job. This is a good opening, a good drive by Montreal.
The Lions were complaining, and I think they may have a valid reason. Armstrong appeared to run a pick for Coleman on the play. Penalty flag on this play as Pringle is stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Well, it'll be interesting to see that. I see Nigel Williams over there blocking. Sometimes they like to call holding, but we'll see.
Offside. BC 74. 1st down repeated.
Well, Nigel Williams, good block.
Dave Chaders was flagged for the offside violation. Chaders playing at a defensive tackle position. They've made some adjustments up front on the D line. Chaders, Fleming, and Scott, along with Virgil Robertson up front. 1st and goal for Montreal. Souls bursts his way into the end zone for the touchdown. That That's his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Here's a guy that doesn't carry the ball that much, Don, and you're right. First touchdown, and what I like to see is they're getting Michael Souls involved in the game. Here's a guy who doesn't get a lot of recognition, a lot of credit for all he does. Hey, this is like treating your best baby. You give him something, now he's going to be even more excited.
Well, Michael Souls was a star with the McGill Redmen on this very field, and he scores the first touchdown of the game. As I said earlier, only 34 carries this season. That's the fewest times he has touched the ball as a running back since his rookie season with the Edmonton Eskimos. Terry Baker adding the point after, and the Montreal Alouettes in this Eastern semifinal enjoy a 7-0 lead.
Well, there you can see right there, Michael Souls, he's a happy camper right there, I tell you what. First touchdown, as you said, he's got a lot of family and friends here, Don.
The first touchdown of the football game as the Alouettes lead by a score of 7-0. Jimmy Cunningham taking the kickoff at his own 10-yard line. Cunningham is knocked down as he got up to the 30 by Steve Charbonneau. That's a 19-yard return.
Well, we're talking about Montreal. We know what they got to do. They got to run the ball. Here's Pringle. It cuts it back. He's going to pick up 6 or 7. This is what you're going to do to defeat a defense. Here he goes. He's going to fall. Big Michael Souls. He's going to pick another 7 or 8 yards up. Cuts it again. Little stutter step here. Freezes the defender. B.J. Gallows picks up some more yards. Wear him down, baby. Then give it to Michael Souls for a score.
The Montreal Alouettes, the #1 rushing team in the Canadian Football League this season, and they used the ground game to get the first score of the game. This is Cunningham out into the flat. He attempted to put a move on Irv Smith, hoping he would buy it, but Smith stayed with him, and Cunningham is forced out of bounds, but not before Jimmy the Jet picked up a first down.
Well, he's a big key for this team, and here's their offensive line right now. Ilawanabe, Terrace, Whitacombe, Mantika, and Bradley on the offensive line. This is a good offensive line. Jimmy Cunningham, as you said, just came. Jackson, Trevathan, Mazzola's got to have a big game. Philpott and Yamoka.
4 receivers wide left as Allen operates from the shotgun on first down. Loses the football. It's still loose. Picked up by Montreal, and Payton will score. That ball simply slipped out of the hands of Damon Allen.
Well, we did say that there's some precipitation falling overnight when the football's put on the turf as it snapped. Water sometimes comes with the football. Damon Allen, you don't usually see Damon dropping. He just drops the football here.
Alfred Payton was confident about his ability to play well this afternoon. The leading sacker in the CFL felt that he could beat his man regardless of which side he lined up on. That time he was an opportunistic rush end, scooping up the loose ball and taking it in for a major score.
Well, this is not how BC wanted to start this game. We've talked about it in the opening. They cannot get off to a bad start. They've got to stay with Montreal for any chance of winning.
Terry Baker with the point after, and very quickly with 6:08 remaining in this opening quarter, it's 14-0 Montreal.
We're going to bring that thing home. You see, Damon just gets a shotgun snap. He's looking to throw it. As he cocks it back, it just falls out of his hands. There's Tracy Gravely, and as you said, opportunity. Alfred Payton picks it up, and Johnson to the end zone. Touchdown. Taking a look from this side from the end zone look. You can see he's just going to throw. He just doesn't have good grip on the ball. Good job by Gravely of keeping Damon from retaining the ball. Alfred Payton picks it up. He's got a horde of blockers. They're going to walk him right to the end zone, and there's a dance coming. You know that at the end of this one. It's amazing your spine can do that kind of thing. I'll tell you what.
Play next week. I feel like playing next week. That's what I feel like doing. I feel like playing next week. Yeah. I feel like going to TO.
Well, I think we know what you plan on doing next week. How about the week after, Alfred?
He repeated it a couple of times just to make sure all our viewing audience heard it.
Ryan Coughlin, who is the long snapper and handles the snaps on converts, field goals, and punts, shaken up on the convert by Baker.
And I wonder if this is not a reoccurring injury. We saw him get knocked up a little bit in Toronto last week, and maybe this is a reoccurring injury, and Alan Wetmore was talking to him. I was talking to him, and he has snapped for 3 games, long snap, and that's kind of wild when you got a guy that plays fullback lining up there.
Both Coughlin and Souls, 2 McGill grads, very happy to be playing this Eastern semifinal back in the same turf they starred during their collegiate careers.
Yeah, you can see there's the big trio right there. Heppel, Wetmore, and Big Bernard, who put one of the most devastating hits on Pinball Clemens I've seen this year.
Cunningham takes the ball at the 10-yard line. Cunningham looking to the sidelines, but any opportunity there is closed off by Charbonneau and Bernard. So down 14-0. The Lions are definitely up against it with 6:02 remaining in the opening quarter.
Big time key drive right now. I mean, you got to start getting some momentum going here. You just can't keep turning the ball over. I mean, you can see Alfred here. He's at the bottom. He's just going to come off your screen. Just going to beat a cut block. Comes inside. And just to beat Johnny on the spot, catches the ball. And that is a nice Alouette bounce there coming off the turf with his hands. Touchdown, Payton.
Back to the live action. Philpott, the ball carrier, and he's stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson, who Dave Ritchie tells us every week, week after week, the best defensive tackle in the league. He just loves this guy. He says he comes to play every week. He'll play with pain. He'll play. I mean, you could take one of his arms off, he'd be out there.
Well, he played for Ritchie out in BC, so Dave is certainly familiar with everything this young man can do, and he has been a stalwart defensively for the Alouettes this season. 2nd and 8. Damon Allen again in the shotgun. Allen can't find anybody to throw to, and Payton's got him.
Well, we talked about Alfred Payton last series getting a touchdown on a recovered fumble. This time, he's working against Chuck Bradley, and Chuck Bradley does a good job of keeping him out. It's a coverage sack. The defensive backs, linebackers that are running with receivers of BC are doing a great job making Damon Allen pull the ball down. He can't get rid of it. He's got lots of time. He's looking. He's all over the place. You can see, unfortunately, you can only keep these guys out for so long.
And again, Montreal is going to get the ball in good field position as Chris Wright will take it at his own 48-yard line. Boy, he has been a terror, not only this afternoon, but in the last game of the regular season against Toronto. And it's 1st and 10 for Montreal at the 42. That's where they'll scrimmage when we return. During the postseason, Alfred Payton has had some of his best performances, and he is off to a strong start this afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you, he's got 4 sacks coming into this game against BC, and he's got this dance. And watch these hands right there. He calls it the praying mantis. He says, nobody can get out of my clutches when I got him.
1st and 10, Montreal. Hand off to Pringle, trying to get to the outside. And Pringle will be close to another first down, forced out of bounds by Humphreys.
And this just shows you the sheer speed. Everybody knows about the power of Mike Pringle, but what about his speed? He gets to the outside. BC does a great job of stringing it, and he still picks up yardage. Watch this. Watch the flow here. Everybody's flowing. They got it strung out. You can see Greg Frères is up there. Humphreys is up there. He outruns them all, even the corner, and picks up almost a first down.
Well, he ran for 1,775 yards this season. 10 times during regular season play, he had games of 100 or more yards rushing. Handoff inside to Souls. Big hole. And Souls is close to another Montreal first down.
And you better not key on one person or you're going to get killed quickly. They tried to key on Pringle that time. He just hands a draw backside. Nobody home. Michael Souls takes it the distance. Gets 9 yards. You see, just comes through the hole right there. It's all vacated because the linebackers are overflowing, compensating for where Pringle goes.
3:49 remaining in the opening quarter. Montreal leading by 14, threatening to add to that advantage. Hand off to Pringle. Big hole on the 2nd down play. He drives to the 15. It's another Montreal first down. A first quarter totally dominated by the Montreal ground game.
Well, they are definitely dominating. They're pounding. They're having, if you want to say, they're having their way with these guys. Watch Neil Fort. What a great job on Robertson at the bottom of your screen there. Lockbaum comes up, and he is hanging on for dear life. If he gets past that guy, it's end zone dance.
to Chris Armstrong. Armstrong is able to stay on his feet and stay in bounds. And he gets down to the 1-yard line before being forced out by Lions.
Well, you talk about the run, setting up the pass, and here's a perfect example. Just sits there. You see Armstrong just doing it, little inside to the outside. Holland's playing off him. You can't play off him that much. Does a nice job putting his hands down, keeping his knee off the ground. Picks up 3 or 4 extra yards.
So it is 1st and goal from the 1. Do you think they might give it to Michael Souls again?
What a great place to give it to him, I'm telling you.
It is Michael Souls, and it is a Montreal touchdown.
And you noticed, Don, when you asked me about it, I was not going to go against you. Far too often this year, I've tried my hand of gambling against your decisions and ended up on the wrong side of the stick. So, but I do agree, what a great place. His collegiate career here, big time. He's got 2 touchdowns. He's excited. His family's excited. His friends are excited. Hey, the crowd is excited.
Well, his first 2 rushing touchdowns of the season. What a great time to cross the goal line in the Eastern semifinal. And with the point after coming up by Terry Baker, the Montreal Alouettes are threatening to turn this one into a rout. 2:28 remaining in the opening quarter, and with Michael Souls scoring a pair of touchdowns, it's 21-0 Montreal.
Well, the biggest thing is you can see right here, the offensive line's just going to come off. Michael Souls is just going to take it. You can see the coverage downside. This is what you want to do. I mean, you know, this is fun for an offensive lineman when you get down and dirty and you got spit hanging off your face mask and guys are banging heads. It's just, there's no other feeling like it. I mean, it's just total excitement, domination. It's the only place in the world you get paid to try and knock somebody down.
Well, spoken like a true O-lineman, because I think if you took a poll of all the O-linemen in the league, they would prefer to block for a running game rather than the passing attack, wouldn't they?
Most definitely. And I said, you know, talking to Montreal, they said, we got a great running game. We know we can dominate. They're that confident. They say, we can dominate BC. They're doing it right now in the first quarter. They say, we have to even pick it up, because if we're going to Edmonton on that icy grass field, now it's going to be grass field, a little different turf out there, they're going to have to even upgrade that running game a notch higher.
Well, the artificial turf at Molson Stadium was installed initially in 1975 for the Olympic Games. The following year, field hockey was played in this facility in 1976. Here's Cunningham on the kick return, and an excellent tackle downfield by Wetmore, limiting the return to 14 yards. Well, Michael Souls talked to us yesterday about what it's like coming back home to play the Eastern semifinal.
It's special for me. We had a practice there this week and brought back a lot of memories to be running around on the field. I think it's going to be special for the other players too, in the sense that there's kind of an excitement in this city which we haven't had all year.
Well, there is excitement, particularly when they look at the scoreboard and see that the Alouettes are in front 21-0. Long pass to the sidelines intended for Jackson. That falls incomplete.
And one of the things that happens to your offense, if you're not on the field regularly and you're 2 and out, you get no rhythm. Right now you're forcing things. You don't have the groove going, and Damon's going to have to get something going to get that groove, to try and get some kind of continuity going with his receivers, his running back, and everybody.
Earlier this week, Adam Rita was somewhat critical of his receivers, claiming that they seem to have lost the ability to make the correct reads as they run their patterns. 2nd and 10 for British Columbia. This one is almost picked off. It was intended again for Jackson.
And you can see
Charles Gordon, sorry Chris, got in there to knock it down.
No, Don, you can just see the frustration. They're trying to bring Alfred Jackson across the middle, get him open. The ball is hanging. It doesn't get there as quick as it should. Allows the defensive back to come in and make a play on it. You can see him. He's just going to cut back inside here. He's going to come in. It's a little behind him. He's got to stop. When you're doing those crossing patterns, you got to get him on the move, on the go. You can't make him stop and come back, because that allows the defensive back, who's in the chase position, to come and make the play.
Caravana kicking it towards the sidelines. There's a penalty flag in the play taken by Wright, and Wright is upset as he crosses the 50. The first time they've been able to contain Chris Wright on a kick return today. A run back of 4 yards. Van Hofwagen was there to make the tackle. We'll sort out the penalty flags in a moment. Right now, let's join Carol and Corey.
All right, Don, the Alouettes have spent about $55,000 to renovate the stadium, and one of the things that they've done on the south side, not on this side, but is to cover the gutter you see here that's along the north side. They've left this side exposed. Obviously, you can see the danger. If a player were to put his foot in here, surely he would sprain an ankle, or stepping on the rubber edging is also very dangerous. Don?
Well, that could be a problem without question, Carolyn, but those gutters were necessary last night with the rain that fell in Montreal.
You know what? It looks like a moat. I just hope there's no crocodiles in that moat.
A penalty on the return against Montreal, so they are moved back to their own 38-yard line. This is their worst field position to start any series. There's the toss to Pringle, and Damian Lyons came up very quickly to take the feet out from under him.
A nice job of Damian fighting off the block of the receiver to come in and make that play, because had he not made that play, Mike Pringle had a lot of open room in front of him.
Pickup of 1. It will be 2nd and 9 for Montreal. We're into the final minute of the opening quarter with the Alouettes leading by a score of 21-0. Coleman comes wide left. Williams goes out to the right. And can't find anybody. And as he attempted to run, he was caught by Dave Chaters. And the Montreal Alouettes will be forced to kick it away.
Well, nice job of the defensive line. They're running stunts. They're trying to do anything they can to confuse the blocking right now. And the only way you're going to do it is keep working, keep working, keep working. The offensive lineman's doing it. You can see Dave Chaters is not even around an offensive lineman. Then he comes back in, gets punched out. The action punches him into the way of Tracy Ham. And fortunately, they're able to tackle him, shoestring him, and keep him down from running for a gain.
First punt of the game for Montreal. A high snap over the head of Baker. Baker racing into the end zone after it, and he is going to kick it out of the end zone for a safety touch.
What a smart move. You know, you wonder if he's going to try and jump on it. A lot of times you try and jump on a football, it'll squib out, especially on wet conditions. Good move by Terry Baker to boot it out and not give them a chance for a touchdown.
Well, Baker had no chance with the 3rd down snap as it sailed high over his head. And as you said, an alert move by Baker.
You might want to use that technique on field goals, but I tell you what, it's a good move right there. Give up the safety.
I wonder if Ryan Coughlin may still be suffering from the effects earlier when he was slightly injured on a convert attempt.
That might be. You know, it was a high snap, and sometimes you want to make sure you overcompensate sometimes to make sure you get the ball there properly and push a little bit too much oomph on it. You can see right here comes the ball. He's going to snap it, and he gets some good height just over Baker's. And I'm not saying Baker doesn't have a good vertical, but I don't think a whole pad of loose leaf would have blown out from under Baker's legs in that vertical.
You have to think that Baker has played a little soccer the way he booted that ball out of the end zone.
Well, I can tell you it was soccer, not basketball.
So now the Montreal Alouettes, with 18 seconds remaining in the opening quarter, will be forced to kick off. As a result of the safety touch, a 21-2 Montreal lead. You know, you look back on the BC Lion performance over the last 4 games, 4 consecutive losses. They gave up 46 points to Toronto, 41 points to Edmonton, 43 points to Calgary. Point totals, with the way this game has started, could easily be surpassed in the Eastern semifinal.
Oh, that's a great point, Don. And the fact is, in those same 4 games, they've only scored 38 points offensively, which is less than 9 a game. Or, you know, you got to put more points than that to win football games in this league.
Cunningham had a spectacular debut for the BC Lions in the final game of the season against Calgary. He takes the ball in the end zone after letting it bounce, and then he is bounced by a couple of people. Giddings, the first to make contact with him in the vicinity of the 12-yard line. Only a 16-yard return by Cunningham. And it seems with each offensive series, the BC Lions have had really tough field position.
And they talk about the importance of special teams. Here's a guy, Rashawn Giddings, just makes a tackle. He's had 4 starts, yet he has 13 special teams tackles. And he starts at middle linebacker. You know, he's in the clone of the Michael Shea of Toronto, does everything for the team. They call him the Rock. And I mean, he is playing well. He's out of Rutgers. I really like what this kid's doing in his league so far.
Well, I know you like those special team guys and their dedication to the game. And for some of them, that's really the only way they get any recognition. Here's Damon Allen in trouble, and down he goes. He couldn't find a receiver. Good coverage by the Owls, and that is also the final play of the opening quarter. The Montreal Alouettes in control, leading by 19 points. The fans at Molson Stadium are certainly enjoying this Eastern semifinal, and the Canadian Tire first quarter stats reflect the domination of the Montreal Alouettes. A fumble recovery by Alfred Payton resulting in 1 touchdown, a costly turnover early in the first quarter. And Adam Rita on the sidelines talking to a number of players not happy with what he has witnessed from his offense thus far in the game.
Well, we know Adam Rita is a pretty calm, cool, collected type of guy, unless he's around Jeff Reinbold. But hey, I tell you what, one of the things he's got to do as a coach is you got to fire your guys up, and if that means getting in your face and saying things, do it. Because sometimes guys need a wake-up call. And I tell you what, there's some guys in BC right now that need it.
Well, Jeff's a long way away from Adam today as our game day analyst out at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Penalty flags on second down. We talked to Damon Allen about this yesterday.
British Columbia, number 60. Second down.
Some of the problems that the BC Lions have had offensively, procedure, time count violations, little things that can really frustrate a team and get them into difficulty.
Well, they had 6 penalties last week against Calgary, really hurt them. They're getting penalties here. They've got nothing going. They just have nothing offensively going. They've got to do something.
Damon Allen in the shotgun on 2nd and 16. He's going to fire it deep for Mazzoli. Can't hang on. He was reaching for it, but Torrey Hunter was right there with him.
Well, Torrey Hunter and Tom Europe, who comes over from a safety position. When a ball hangs in the air this long, you're going to allow your safety to come over and help. He does. He gets over there and helps the halfback. Does a nice job, and Mazzoli tries to catch it, but it almost has to stop and look back for the ball a couple of times. You can see him right there, and had the ball been thrown a little further, you kind of want to do that. Here's Alfred Payton at the bottom, working. He's working. He's trying to get in there. He says, no tackle can block me. He's adamant about that.
And again, Montreal is going to get the ball in good field position as Caravada is punting from the end zone. Chris Wright takes it at the BC 45. Continues to spin and weave his way down to the 30-yard line. Stopped there by Kelly Lockbaum after a 14-yard return. At the start of our telecast, we talked about the great atmosphere here at Molson Stadium, and these fans, young and old, are certainly enjoying themselves on a beautiful fall afternoon.
Oh, man, I should be opening a shirt booth outside. It'd make a fortune.
By Ham. He was looking for Jock Climby down the sidelines, but Climby was covered, so Ham had to take off himself.
Let's take a look at the kick here. You can see when Chris Wright catches the ball, he's out there. There's one guy, number 12, Shaw. There's no other outside contain. You've got to get some contain, get some feather out there. Don't let him get to the outside. You got to stop a guy like this. Keep him in your lanes, so you have a chance to stop and not let him run the ball down your throat on returns.
Ham ran for 6. It's 2nd and 4 Montreal. The ball is at the 25 of BC. Pringle this time for another Montreal first down, driving to the 18-yard line, and Lockbaum was in the stop, but they have had a difficult time trying to stop Mike Pringle, not only in the regular season, but in this playoff game as well.
Well, what you're going to see here is 60. Watch this guy right here. He gets on his block. He's on Lockbaum. He's on him. He's on him. That's what you got to do. Now, he's got to shed that block if he's going to make the tackle.
Center Mike Sutherland battling with Lockbaum, and give the young linebacker credit. He was able to make the tackle. Here's Pringle, touchdown.
Well, I don't want to say too early, Don, but this is getting out of hand. I mean, they're running a counter play. OKK just comes across and totally knocks out the defensive end. Does a great job. Pringle knows it. It's a counter play, cuts it upside, not even touched in the end zone. Watch right here. There he is. Watch him come down here right now. He's going to fall. Bruce Payton does a great job of getting a block on B.J. Gallus. This is too easy. It's too easy. This is how you practice. Should never be like this in a game.
Well, you talked about the ease with which Pringle ran into the end zone. The offensive line of the Montreal Alouettes from the opening play when Michael Solskjaer determined to move the ball along the ground. Well, Mike Pringle, scoring the last touchdown, has already run for 66 yards in this game.
And we're only just touching the second quarter. And watch this play right here. You're going to see Pringle following his guard and his tackle. Watch 53. You can't really see him. He's behind the referee. Get out of there, referee. You can see him coming out of there right now. Does a great job of reading the block. He's got to read the back of the offensive lineman to know where the hole is. And he does a great job of doing that and taking it all the way to Payton.
That's something Pringle has always been noted for, his ability to read that lead block. And he certainly followed the block of OKK to get into the end zone. This is Cunningham on the kick return. Cunningham with his speed brings it back to the 49-yard line. And it was the kicker, Baker, who made the tackle after a 35-yard return.
Well, I tell you what, this is what BC needs. They need some life. Here's Alfred Payton. He's been going crazy. We talked to him. He said he could have 2 broken legs and beat people. That's what he said before the game. But you can see him and Todd Furtick getting into it. Wannabe's coming off him. This is where he gets a touchdown. Johnson to the end zone on this play. He's a busy man, Alfred Payton, right now. He's fired up. I mean, he is fired up. You see him right now. He's just coming inside. Punch, punch, punch. It's a war out there, people.
Well, it's been a pretty one-sided war so far. The BC Lions with Damon Allen faking inside, rolling out to the right, and he's got Trevathan close to a first down. There was some question as to whether Trevathan would be able to play today because he has a foot injury, and for a receiver, a foot injury is a real problem with the ability to cut and make that move.
Well, you know, Larry Thompson had to sit out this game, and he was the biggest receiver the last time they met for BC. He had 8 catches, 69 yards, but you know, this is what you like. You know, he's getting out. We said we have to bootleg. They pull a guard, protect him a little bit, keep Alfred Payton off him. Nice completion, Trevathan. Second and short. Let's move the ball now. But I tell you, one thing that happened the last special teams that I think is an indication of why this game is the way it is. After a great run by Jimmy Cunningham, I watched the BC players. They walked off the field. Now he has a great return. Get up and pat him on the butt. Get excited. That's always an indication of how you're doing by special teams.
John Hufnagel calling most of the plays this afternoon for Damon Allen. 11:50 remaining in the first half. 28-2 Montreal leads. The winner will advance against the Toronto Argonauts next Sunday at Skydome in the Eastern Final for the right to go to the Grey Cup the following Sunday in Edmonton. Sideline pattern, and it's Cunningham. This will be close to another BC first down, and there's also a late penalty flag.
Well, they're going to call it against Montreal. But I like what BC's doing. They're spreading them. They get everybody out now. If you're not going to run the ball,
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Montreal 21, first down BC.
Herb Smith with the penalty, but if you're not going to run the ball, don't even try fooling them. Put your receivers, put your backs, scatter everybody, and that's what they're doing right now. They're opening it up, getting a lot of one-on-one situations, and maybe that's what they feel they have to do to try and get the ball moving to the end zone. You see Cunningham lined up wide outside, just comes back to the ball. Gets the ball, now you're in open field, make a move, get what you can. Herb Smith making a tackle, you can see his hand is on the face mask. That's a no-no, Herb.
First and 10 for BC from the 25 of Montreal. Allen under pressure, decides to take off, and the gap was closed off quickly by Alfred Payton.
Well, Alfred Payton made the stop, but Swift Birch wrecked what they were trying to do. He came in off the left side here, and he just blows past him. And you can see, you know, if it's not Payton, it's Birch. Now, you know, Payton's coming off, and he does a nice job right here, but he's just kind of shadowing. He's not even rushing. We saw him do this earlier in the game.
But on the other side, away from the screen, Swiftburg forced Damon to pull the ball down and run back that way where Alfred Payton could make the play.
A loss of 2, it's 2nd and 12. Again, Damon Allen operates from the shotgun, 4 receivers to the left. There's the pass down the right sidelines intended for Trevathan, and Nash is going to draw a penalty flag.
They're going to call pass interference. They're detecting a little tugging on the back of the jersey as Trevathan's taking it down to the corner of the end zone.
Bud Steen conferring with his officials as the BC Lions have an opportunity to finally cross the goal line after watching the Alouettes do it 4 times thus far in the football game.
Deliberate forward pass interference. Montreal 0-0. First down, BC.
We're going to see it right at the end right here. They're just pushing. He's got his hands on him. You're not allowed to touch receiver. You're allowed to fight for the football, but you can't interfere with his ability to catch the ball. And you can see Trevathan, and I like to see that. I like seeing that. Get a little upset. Get a little excited, baby, because if you don't win this game, you're going home.
It's 1st and goal, British Columbia from the 4 of Montreal. .25 remaining in the first half. Again, Damon Allen is in the shotgun. Allen lobs it into the corner of the end zone, and Cunningham is the man he was looking for. But there were 2 receivers in the same area again.
It almost looked like they were trying to run some sort of a pick play. You can see Cunningham coming inside, flipping back outside. Now you got 2 guys in the same area, and anybody will tell you you can't have a successful opportunity if you got everybody grouped in one section of the field. You want to spread them out, especially when you're down in the red zone or the goal zone.
So it will be 2nd and goal from the 4. Same type of formation for the BC Lions. This time it's Trevathan the target, and Nash was on him.
Well, I tell you what, Don, they ran the exact same play, except this time Cunningham didn't spin back to the outside. He stayed coming back to the inside, and it is a pick play. They're trying to rub somebody, trying to get him open, just overthrown. Now watch this. This is what stops it. This is a good job by Irv Smith and not letting him come inside. That's a good job. Now, had he been separated, he would allow Cunningham to try and pick the inside guy, which would allow Trevathan to be open. But you know what? What's more important than anything is you can see how BC really misses Sean Millington. When you get down to the 4-yard line and you don't have any opportunity to run the football and you're just solely relying on the pass, it just makes you so one-dimensional.
So with the field goal by Lou Pasaglia, it's 28-5 Montreal. We're on the campus of McGill University at the foot of Mount Royal in Molson Stadium, and a large crowd in attendance to watch this Eastern semifinal. The first time a football game, a professional game, has been played here since the Alouettes left in 1972.
And there's a lot of energy here. The people are crazy. They're just having a great time. And what a great game being put on by Montreal right now.
Here's Chris Wright, ever dangerous on the return. And a penalty flag at the 50-yard line as Wright is forced out of bounds. Hensey Charles may have been called on the sidelines. That was a 43-yard run back by Chris Wright as he continues to dominate the return game.
Well, yeah, you know, Hensey Charles gets a penalty up on the 50-yard line, but Chris Wright has already run 30 yards by the time he gets to the penalty. Watch this. They just do such a great job of setting a wall and allowing him to run to the outside. You can see it's a clip. What happened at the bottom of your screen is you cannot cut block on blocking. You got to stay up and take your man head to head, chest to chest, or however you want to do it, but you cannot cut.
On the sidelines, let's bring in Carolyn Corey.
Don, BC Lions have just finished wrapping some ice on Alfred Jackson's right quadricep muscle. He has pulled his quad, going with an offense that's not really clicking for the Lions this afternoon. He's surely going to be missed.
Well, injuries have really been a problem this year for the BC Lions. And here's Pringle taking it wide left, and It looks as though he's got another first down for Montreal.
And one of the things about the great game of football is you smell your opponent starting a weekend. You have to have that killer instinct. You have to rub the salt in the wounds. Make them pay for even wanting to show up on the field with you. And that's what Montreal is doing right now. They are laying a licking on BC. And boy, with Alfred Jackson out of the lineup right now, whoo, there goes one of your main weapons. Boy, somebody else on that team better start to stand up and fill some of that void.
8:42 remaining in the first half. Mike Pringle, at the rate he's going, could have 100 yards before they take the break. Fake inside now. Tracy Ham looking. Can't find anybody. Throw intended for Nigel Williams, and he underthrew him. It will be 2nd and 10.
Well, you can see this guy here, Larry Thompson, Alfred Jackson right beside him. Larry Thompson talking to him. He's very disappointed he didn't get a chance to play. As he said, on August 30th, he had 8 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Was the leading receiver for the BC Lions. Didn't dress because they wanted to go with Trevathan. There's frustration right there. These are not happy faces, people. I'm telling you right now. When you shake your head like that, they're talking about plays, but unfortunately, Alfred Jackson might not get a chance to run that pattern that Larry Thompson's talking about.
2nd and 10 for Montreal. Coleman goes wide left. Ham over the middle looking for Armstrong, and for only the 2nd time in the game, Terry Baker will come in to punt, and I'm sure he's hoping that this time the snap from center will be a little better than the last time.
Big time. Either that or he's going to take the weights out of his shoes so he can start to sky up there and catch him. But you know what I like? BC had the best drive of the game that they've had last series. The defense did his job keeping them. Now they're going to get the ball back, and let's see what Damon can do this time.
Good kick by Baker. He's averaged during the regular season 44.5 yards per kick. Oh! Hit by Kenny on Gravely. Oh, did he hammer Gravely, enabling Cunningham to get to the outside, and Gravely is still down. A 39-yard return. 7:43 remaining in the half.
Maurice Kelly, and I tell you what, you want to fire your teammates up, you got to do something. Here's Jimmy the Jet, punt return. Watch the bottom of the screen. Hello, Tracy Gravely. Whoa, watch this. Get the number of that truck that ran you over, baby. As I tell you what, they'll be smelling salt on that side of the sidelines. That's a great hit. You can see that face right there. Woohoo!
39 yards on the return. Here's the pass over the middle to Brad Yamoka, and he takes the ball to the 42 of Montreal.
Well, he's happy. Maurice Kelly, you know he's got it. That always fires you up. Anytime you can knock somebody over, it makes you feel good. But when you run over somebody, wow, you might as well have a cigarette.
No, don't start doing that.
I'm just kidding about that. You know that. I don't keep that spelled figure so easy, you know.
First down for BC with 7:05 remaining in the half. 28-5. Montreal leads. 3 receivers wide left. Fake by
Jimmy Cunningham dove into the end zone. Well, 2 things, Don. The first thing I liked is they ran a middle screen to Yamoka. You're going to rush all those guys on the Montreal side. I'm going to slip the screen. Make you start thinking about it. Then they come back next play. Little fake hit. Like he's going to throw the quick out. Bam, he stops. Freezes the cornerback and takes it down. Touchdown Cunningham, and I like the effort. We talked about the effort diving into the end zone.
Cunningham signed a 3-year contract with the Lions on October the 22nd. Made his debut as a Lion against Calgary on the weekend, the final weekend of regular season play. Had 8 catches for 85 yards in that game and has the first touchdown of the afternoon for the BC Lions. It was played after by Lou Pasaglia. This game isn't over.
Oh, no, this is great. Now watch him. He's here. He's going to fake how you stop it. Freezes his cornerback. Here's Smith bites. Bam, he gets the ball. Nice throw. Catches, has to slow up a little bit. Using his speed. And here's effort. We talked about effort. You got to get in the end zone. He does it. Another angle right here. There you can see the pump fake. Freezes the cornerback. Nice throw. Gets him on the run. And I love the effort right here, baby, because you're not denying me, and that's what it's all about at this time of the year. Let's take a look at the pump. Watch Damon right here. Watch his hand. That's how he does. He brings it down and freezes the cornerback. That's what it's all about. And I tell you what, BC, the last two drives have come to life. And maybe Adam Reed, we talked about kicking a little booty over there. Maybe he did.
Well, he spoke to some players over on the sidelines after they fell behind 21-0. He was quite animated, it appeared, in having those discussions. But one man who has certainly made a contribution, Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. It began with his return on the third down punt, and then he grabbed the toss from Damon Allen for the touchdown. Coleman on the kick return for Montreal, and Trevathan is in on the stop at the 34-yard line. That's where Montreal will scrimmage when we return. His defensive troops to come up with a big play, trying to stop Mike Pringle is their score, and there are about half a dozen BC uniforms over there, led by Kelly Lockbaum, to bring him down at the 40-yard line, a pickup of 6.
Well, does a nice job. Watch Lockbaum on the screen. He just keeps rolling. Watch him roll here. Flow, goes with the flow, gets in there, makes the play, wraps up. And what I like about this is guys are jumping around now. Now they're excited. It takes 21 points, I don't know, but hey, this is what you have to have out of your defense and your offense. You're in the biggest game of your life, fellas.
2nd and 4, it's Pringle again, and he drives straight ahead to the 45. That should be a first down, Montreal. Well, at halftime, we'll take a look at the unsung heroes of the CFL game, and I think it's safe to assume that many of those unsung heroes will be people who work primarily on special teams. We'll also take a look at the first half of this Eastern semi-final. At the moment, the Montreal Alouettes leading by a score of 28-12 in possession. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Hand off to Pringle, and Pringle initially had a big hole, then it was closed off by Kelly Lockbaum, but not before he picked up 6 yards.
Well, they talk about BC's defense. They're not the biggest, but they're mobile. They're very athletic. Here's what happens. I mean, you're running the ball. You're going to see Lockbaum right there, 33. His eyes, like laser beams, locked on 27. He's going to fight off the block. That's a nice job. Hey, you're going to rise to the occasion. You keep running that play. That's a nice job by Kelly Lockbaum.
And I'm sure this young man saw number 27 in his dreams or maybe nightmares all evening. Pass complete for a first down to Jock Climby at the 52-yard line. Let's go down to the sidelines and again bring in Carolyn Corey.
Yes, Don, just to update the status of Alfred Jackson. He is out of the game. That's what we've heard. The pulled quadricep has left him on the bench probably for the remainder.
Boy, what a tough year for injuries to very key people. Millington, Benefield, Maiva, just to name a few.
Well, Benefield just came in and was starting to reassert himself as a great defensive lineman. I say that because he's got credentials.
Pringle again driving through to about the 48-yard line, a pickup of 4. It looks as though he's about 1 yard shy of another 100-yard rushing performance, and we still have 3:42 remaining in the half.
Well, let's watch this. Here you see Lockbaum again. You see Chaters, 74, fighting off the block. Everybody's coming in. There's Chaters making the play. That's what you got to do. You've got to get rid of your guy. Shed him, knock him back, put him on his fanny. Best of all, get angry. Get angry, man. Get angry.
3 receivers wide left on 2nd down. There's the toss to Pringle. Pringle got to the line of scrimmage and not much more.
Well, we've seen it again. This time, they stretch it. Rashid Gill comes up, does a nice job. You can see him right now. They got Souls going one way, Pringle going the other. Just going to take it, just a little bare naked toss out there. He's going to go. Rashid does a nice job of trying to turn him in, and Humphreys lays a licking on him. And for 2 times in a row, BC's defense has stopped him now.
15 carries now for 100 yards for Mike Pringle. Cunningham, who got things started the last time Terry Baker lined up to kick, won't get an opportunity to return it as this short kick bounces out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Only a 28-yard kick. And the fans here at Molson Stadium, who were really enjoying themselves in the opening quarter, have become a little more quiet here in the second. We're at Molson Stadium in Montreal, the first half of our CFL playoff doubleheader. Montreal leading 28-12 over BC. Following this game, Saskatchewan at Calgary from McMahon Stadium in Calgary, the Western semifinal. A Sunday CFL playoff doubleheader on CBC television. Damon Allen dropping back, looking over the middle, well over the head of the intended target, Trevor Shaw, who was in the ball game in place of the injured Alfred Jackson.
Well, I think Damon's going to have some, start getting some confidence in his O-line. He threw that before he really had to throw it. He's been getting some pressure from Montreal. He's got to just relax, reload, hit the receivers right now.
Tracy Gravely is the injured Montreal player who is receiving medical attention, resulting in a delay in play here. Damon Allen has only completed 50% of his passes for 102 yards. The big strike, the touchdown throw to Jimmy Cunningham. Gravely may still be feeling the effects of the hit that Maurice Kelly put on him on the punt return by Jimmy Cunningham. And there's a view of McMahon Stadium in Calgary. We understand it's a cool afternoon, but no white stuff on the ground, fortunately, as the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Calgary Stampeders get set for their Western semifinal.
And Saskatchewan always plays Calgary tough. This is going to be an exciting one down there.
Well, the BC Lions, after looking like they might get blown away, have come to life in the second quarter and have an opportunity to make a game out of it, but Damon Allen gets himself into trouble. The ball comes loose. It's still loose. Into the end zone. Doug Kraft, touchdown.
I don't believe it. 2 fumbles, 2 touchdowns. These are backbreakers. I mean, I understand Damon's trying to make things happen. He's looking, he's holding on to the ball, he's trying to find the receiver. Then you got to get rid of it. Either get rid of it, throw it down, take a grounding if you have to, run, go down. He stands up, he tries to fight for extra yards, the ball becomes stripped. Now you have 2 touchdowns scored against you, both as a result of fumbles.
No sooner do I utter those fateful words, and Montreal grabs a fumble, and Doug Kraft takes it into the end zone. 34-12 now, with Terry Baker lining up for the point after. Well, the BC Lions, after getting the touchdown from Cunningham, were looking to perhaps put together another drive and get a little closer before the half ends, but instead this happens.
Well, you can see the protections there. I mean, and you can see Swift Birch is in there. He's got his arm. He has his arm right now, and as he pulls Damon Allen down, Swift Birch that is, the ball comes loose. Everybody tries to recover. We talked about this earlier. When you're jumping on the ball on wet turf, it'll swim. It's like a bar of soap sometimes. Takes a nice Alouette bounce to Kraft, though, and easy 3 yards into the end zone. Watch the protection. The protection's good right off the bat. He's got time, he looks, then he tries to squeeze. But watch Birch, you can see right there. Gets his hand there, strips the ball, then it becomes the fight for the football. And watch this bounce. Here's a nice bounce. Torrey tries to grab it. Now watch this. Up! One more time. That's the nicest bounce you're going to get in your lifetime.
Yes, right into the arms of Doug Kraft, and he had an easy romp the remaining 5 yards into the end zone.
Now watch, we talked about Swift Birch. Watch him right here. He's got, you can see it. You can see him grab it. Now as he falls, he pulls the ball out.
I think he may have had some help from Alfred Payton in pulling that ball.
Well, he probably did, but I tell you what, one of the things I like about that is they teach you is if you can get the guy, go for the football, especially if you got a couple guys around there. There's a celebration. Nash, Kraft jumping around. Big Neil Fort, usually celebrating offensive touchdowns, comes down and crushes Kraft with a bear hug.
Swift Birch, 3 sacks so far this afternoon, and instrumental in popping that ball away from Damon Allen, resulting in the Douglas Kraft touchdown. Cunningham on the kick return, an 8-yard run back after the 54-yard kick. Well, it's been a very difficult day so far for Damon Allen. 2 fumbles have led to Montreal touchdowns.
Well, he talked about this earlier. He said, you know, I'm not the rah-rah type guy. I'm not the kind of guy that gets rattled. So I think if you ever want to have a guy that has constantly had things happen to him in adverse conditions, he's the guy. Let's see how he rebounds. Let's see what happens with this man, John Hufnagel, and what kind of plays he's going to put in his pocket.
They face a 23-point deficit with 2:36 remaining in the half. Dumped over the middle to Cunningham, and Cunningham attempted to go high again, and it was Giddings who made the stop. Again, let's bring in Carolyn Corey.
All right, thanks, guys. Yes, Tracy Gravely has indeed left the game. That hit he took by Jimmy the Jet Cunningham has knocked him a bit silly, and he's extremely woozy, and he's in the locker room right now.
I'm not surprised the way Kelly flattened him on the Cunningham return.
Well, I'll tell you what, I just hope he's okay, because anytime you get your head knocked like that. But this is a great thing. I mean, if you got Jimmy the Jet Cunningham and you got him coming across the middle right now, if you got to put the ball in his hands 20 times, put it in his hands 20 times. Do what you got to do.
Damon Allen on the quarterback draw. This is where he's so dangerous when he takes off. He's got a first down, stopped by Europe at the 53.
Well, we mentioned in the opening that he had ran the ball 7 times for 71 yards and broke Montreal's backs many times in the first half of that August 30th game. He's got to do that now. If nothing's open, use his athletic ability, get running the ball, move the yardsticks.
Well, during the regular season, he carried it 112 times for 834 yards. He holds the CFL record for rushing yards by a quarterback. He swings it out to Corey Philpott. Philpott breaks a couple of tackles and picks up about 8.
Well, this is a crucial drive for BC. You've got to start moving it, keep the momentum. If something bad happens, you can't let it put you in a tank. This is a nice job, good protection by the O-line, just swings it out to Philpott. Get Philpott. I mean, this is a guy that used to lead the BC Lions in rushing year after year. Let him get in the open field. This is what he does best. It's a nice job of getting over there and making the tackle.
Well, Philpott had 3 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons for BC prior to this year. Damon Allen over the middle, and it is intercepted. Gordon comes up with the football. It was intended for Shaw, and the Montreal Alouettes snuff out a potential BC drive.
Well, you got to like the way he did that. Charles Garden, excellent coverage from the chase position. He's coming across. Shaw's coming across. He just stays with him, goes low, and makes the interception. You can see the throw coming into your TV room right now. He just comes in front. He just cuts right in front of Shaw, takes the ball. Nice job by Charles Gordon on the interception right there. But again, Damon Allen's got to lead his receivers more. He can't put it in a spot. Put it where he's going to be, not where he is.
Three receivers wide to the right for Tracy Ham. He gives it to Mike Pringle. Pringle following the lead block of Fort. And Pringle with another big run up close to the midfield stride.
Well, the same play they ran for the touchdown, they just do it the other way. Hey, okay, we're not going to let you have all the fun. That's Neil Ford coming around here. Big boy, 310, and I'll tell you what, he's 330 if there's an inch. But I tell you what, he gets over there, and anytime you get a guy that size, lumbering, and making nice blocks on B.J. Gallus, the outside linebacker, you're going to have a great day running the ball.
Ham looking to throw. He's flushed out of the pocket. Tracy Ham, no slouch in running with the football. He picks up about 4, maybe even 5 yards.
Well, BC's been doing good things on defense. It just seems every once in a while they get caught in something. They take a gamble and they get caught and they get burned. And Pringle, as you said, 123-yard rushing, 16 rushes, 8 seconds or a minute 8 left and a half. I mean, this could be, I don't know what the record is for playoff rushing games or yards, but he's well on the way.
Ham was the #2 runner this year for Montreal. I was talking to Dave Ritchie. He said he'd like to see Ham run even more, but in talking to Ham, he said, I've had a healthy Pringle for most of the season. Why not let him run with the football? There's the pass over the middle. Armstrong has a first down. Well, you only have to ask, Chris, for the record for most rushing yards in a playoff game. And our producer, Mike Brannigan, complies. Skip Walker was the man with the Ottawa Roughriders. 253 yards against Hamilton.
Well, that's a nice run. I remember Skip Walker. I remember enjoying watching the way he ran. And that is a record, I think, that can be attained if they keep doing what they're doing right now.
Well, it's Pringle again. He's got 13 more.
Well, it's the same play, and I tell you what, the old record is it's not broke, don't fix it. They're going side to side, side to side. You go to left. Same thing. A little stutter step to the opposite way. He's going to go. He's going to come back, and he's going to follow the big boy right here. He's just going to get a block again. B.J. Gallus is saying, why me today? They're picking on me. But that's the way the scheme is operated on. It's a good scouting report by Montreal.
3 receivers left, and again it's Pringle. Goodbye. And you're absolutely right, Chris. We may also be saying goodbye to Skip Walker's single-game playoff rushing record.
Well, we always knew that Montreal had a great offensive line. But they are doing so many things right now. They're running the counters. They're running just straight ahead, off-tackle plays, surge plays, power plays. This one straight up the middle. He breaks into the open again and just uses another burst of speed and takes in the end zone. And he does it with such ease that it's almost disturbing that, you know, BC plays so well for a point and then they kind of fall apart.
28 yards for Pringle for his second touchdown, 160 rushing yards in the first half of this Eastern semifinal. 41-12. Montreal now leads it. And you know, I agree with what Tracy Ham said about why he hasn't been running the ball as much this year. Why not just give it to Mike Pringle?
You're right, why not? I mean, the man's possessed. Look at him run. And you know what I like? Look at guys downfield. Look at Coleman making blocks. I mean, this is contagious when you start doing things and you're having this much fun, especially when you got this kind of lead at halftime. Let's take a look at Lockbaum. You can see Souls has got him wrapped up right there. He's not letting him run. A little bit of a tug, just enough to keep him out of the play. And as they say, the rest is history.
Well, we've also talked about Michael Souls and the fact he hasn't really been used much as a ball carrier this year, but what a tremendous lead blocker for Mike Pringle.
Oh, I tell you what, I remember when he played for Edmonton, and he was a great lead blocker there. The Blake Marshalls. There's a history. There's great Canadian fullbacks who have played in this league, and he is another one of them. And as I said, I couldn't find a better place to have his first 2 touchdowns scored than where he played his university ball, because here's a guy who doesn't get a lot of recognition. Now he's got 2 touchdowns. You know he's excited.
200 rushing yards is not something new for Mike Pringle. In a playoff game in Baltimore, he ran for 211 yards. The way he's going, that should be easily attained in the second half of this Eastern semifinal. Cunningham on the return. That was rather interesting, the way he seemed to just sit in among the blockers waiting for something to happen before trying to burst through. His return is limited to 14 yards with 21 seconds left in the half.
Well, as you say, Don, when he sits, it means that his blockers are sitting. You're taught as an offensive return team to go after them. Sit up and go after them. Don't wait. Don't accept the block. You accept the block, he'll push you back. There's no lane. It obscures the returner's field of vision.
Well, this is Alan Wetmore, one of the Als who specializes in special team play. And these special team heroes will be featured at halftime. The Grinders, as Chris Walby likes to refer to them.
The Grinders, the unsung heroes. These are the guys that, you know, they're the construction workers, the blue-collar guys. These are the guys that
get down and dirty.
They get down and dirty, and you like to play cards with them. They don't know any 4-syllable words. You love it.
Doug Peterson was in on the stop. Corey Philpott, the ball carrier. This should be the final play of the first half. Philpott again. And again, it was Swift Birch and Doug Peterson who were there to bring him down in his tracks. And Montreal goes to the dressing room with a very comfortable 30-point lead, dominating the first half with a Mike Pringle ground game.
Montreal full of momentum at the half of the Eastern semifinal, up by 30 over the listless and lifeless BC Lions. And of course, right after this game, we'll take you live to McMahon Stadium for the West semifinal, the Stampeders and the Rough Riders. And some players already warming up on that one. Well, if offense sells tickets and defense wins championships, what can you say about special teams? You often hear coaches say at this time of year, they're so important. Field position, a punt return for a touchdown can break a game wide open. But what about those unsung Canadians who do all the blocking and tackling? You never hear about them. Well, today we're here to celebrate players we call the Grinders. Grinders, hard-nosed Canadians who, just like their hockey brethren, go into the corners for their team on special teams.
Yeah, it's very violent. I mean, special teams, you're looking at usually long plays. You know, everyone's running at full speed, so you got a lot of collisions. Yeah, I mean, you know, anything can happen, but you can't be worried about that. When you step on the field, everyone's aware of the consequences, and it's kind of a reckless mentality. And if you hold back at all, I mean, you'll find you'll get hurt easily, you know, quicker that way.
Special teams, the unheralded punt and kick duty where they pay their dues. Backup linebackers and running backs accepting a lesser light.
People have said over the years, they say, well, geez, you know, when are you going to get some more time on defense? Hey, my time's going to come, you know. I keep plugging away, and when my time comes, I go and perform.
They asked me to be a special teams player for now, and to try to work myself into a starting position. Of course, everybody aspires to be a starter. But, you know, my role as a special teams player, I take very seriously, and I want to be the best that I can be at anything I do.
This is what makes the Grinders so appealing in a nation that celebrates hard work but underrates stars.
I don't need to have, you know, the spotlight thrown on me. I prefer not to. You know, I like toiling in the darkness, so to speak. And the thing is that when you look at a special teams player, they're more commonly focused on the returners, like the Giz and Earl was returning, and Coleman. They don't really look at the guys who are down there covering the kicks. To me, that's a far tougher job than catching the ball and running it back.
If I get 4 tackles, special team tackles in a game, like that's a pretty good game. But you're not going to read about it in the paper the next day, you know. So, as a special team player, special teams, you know, basically is a third of the game. It can make or break a close game.
Indeed, recognition doesn't come on the replay. It comes from the sideline and the locker room, from teammates who appreciate the Grinders.
You know, I take a lot of pleasure in playing and going down every play and, you know, either trying to make a big hit or a big tackle and making my block every time. When you're playing beside Greg Battle, the Warrior, you know, who are they going to block? They're going to block a 5'9" slow Canadian kid, or they're going to block Greg Battle? They're going to block Greg Battle. So if I'm making the tackles, that means the rest of the guys I'm playing with are doing their job.
And on this day, we will indeed bring back a replay of one of the Grinders. There's Alan Wetmore of the Montreal Alouettes plying his trade as a plumber and doing pretty well against Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. Well, let's go back to Montreal, where Chris Walby is standing by, an avid fan of these Grinders, although you'll probably get a call from Wade Miller. Apparently, he knows a four-syllable word, Winnipegosis.
I tell you what, 4 syllables. I joke about these guys, but if you ever get in trouble and you want to have guys that are hard working, the heart and soul of your team, these are these guys. You know what? They hit a real important point. They don't read about their tackles in the paper the next day. These guys give their lifeblood. This is what they do. They bleed. They bleed for their team. You know, the coaches walk by them. Half the coaches don't even know their first names. These guys are so important for the team. As you can see, these are all former Grinders right here.
What about these guys, though? Do they accept the role, or do they just understand it, hoping that it leads to one day being a starter?
Well, yeah, you have to work up the, you know, up the hierarchy, the order, if you would. And I tell you what, one of the things I like is these guys don't get to start right off the bat. So what they do is they play special teams, hopefully make good enough impression that the coach says, hey, when somebody's hurt, the opportunity arises for you to get in there. Let's see what you can do.
All right, Bluto, we'll let you turn around and sign a few autographs, and we'll catch up to you after the break. In Montreal, the East Semi Final at the half. It's 42-12. The Alouettes in front of the BC Lions.
Well, at the start of our telecast, we talked about the atmosphere at Molson Stadium as opposed to Olympic Stadium, and many of the fans, and we're sitting right among them, say that they much prefer watching games here than at Olympic Stadium.
I think that just answered it, Don. I think these people are having a good time. They're seeing Montreal perform. They're having fun. They know that Montreal right now has a good chance to go to the Eastern Final against Toronto, and if they keep playing like this, there might be a record broken by Mike Pringle.
Well, we'll give the viewers at home a chance and all our friends behind us to watch some of the highlights, including 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns.
And this one here was a fumble recovery. Johnny in the spot. Alfred Payton takes it in. Big touchdown dance after. Gets Montreal rolling early. Here's another one. Swift Birch, you can see he's got Damon Allen's arm. He rips the ball out. Ball becomes a free ball for everybody. Everybody's fighting for it. It's like a bar of soap. They're chasing it. You can see right here, Torrey Hunter's got it. It bounces. And, of course, here comes the Alouette bounce to Doug Kraft. Touchdown.
2 defensive touchdowns, 2 by this man, Mike Pringle, who has run for 160 first half yards.
Same play, watch him. He follows Big Neil Ford around. It's called a counter play. Just knocks out B.J. Gallus, allows Pringle to find a hole. Nice run. This is what you want to do. And I tell you what, you think your offensive linemen love you? Watch this. He does it again. Stutter step to the left. Comes back the other way. There's OKK coming around. Same play. B.J. Gallus having nightmares. Big block on him right here. Run it through. You can see he cuts back inside. Another nice run. This is what they're doing so successfully. This is why Mike Pringle has the yards rushing that he has today.
And the McGill grad, Michael Souls, also has 2 touchdowns as the Alouettes are in total control at halftime in this Eastern semifinal.
On a block punt last week against Toronto, is brought down at about the 31-yard line.
And you can take a look at the first half stats. BC 7 first downs to Montreal 16. But right here, this is the key one right here. 30 yards rushing, and they usually have Millington in the backfield. To Montreal's 188 yards rushing, 160, which is Mike Pringle's. And time of possession, 18 minutes to 11. And BC's going to have to really do something this half. First off, by stopping Montreal on this drive.
Well, I think you touched on it earlier when you talked about BC without Millington doesn't really have a ground game. And does Montreal have a ground game? Number 27 answers that question. With his first play of the second half, he now has 172 rushing yards.
Well, I tell you what, you were wondering what they were going to do. This is what they're going to do. They're going to pound it at you. And that's what they do. They just take it straight up. Look at the game notes. We talked about this. BC has to get off to a fast start. They don't. They didn't stop the run. Montreal, we wanted to get Pringle going. They did. They keep Bell in the pocket. 4 sacks, 2 fumbles. Who wrote those game notes to give that guy a raise?
It'll be reflected in your Christmas bonus. Pringle fumbles the football, and that's something he sometimes is prone to do. And it's recovered by BC. So trailing by 30 points. Perhaps there is some life in the BC Lions in the early stages of the third quarter.
Well, as a coach, when you're coming out at halftime, especially being down this much, you say, we got to make opportunities for ourselves. We can't wait for them to do it, so we got to create some, and they do. They strip the ball, they get a fumble recovery, they got good field position. Now they got to capitalize.
Maurice Kelly, who laid that big hit on Tracy Gravely, was there to scoop up the football. It's 1st and 10 for BC. They are at the 48 of Montreal.
You can see B.J. Gallus comes in there and causes the fumble. Maurice Kelly, Johnny on a spot with the recovery.
Fake inside by Damon Allen. He almost had that one picked off, and Kraft is claiming offensive interference. And you know, I think he may have a point, because Mazzoli reached out and grabbed his arm as he was trying to intercept.
Well, I tell you what, you're taught as a receiver, if you can't catch it, don't let the other guy catch it. He does a nice job risking penalty, like you said, of being called for offensive pass interference, but does a nice job, just enough to offset it right there. Gets his hand in there, pulls him, doesn't allow to come up with the interception.
Kraft immediately turned to the official, but there was no flag on the play. It will be 2nd and 10 for BC. This time, Allen operates out of the shotgun. 3 receivers left. Allen looks in that direction. Now decides to take off. McSeed got a piece of him. And then on the far side of the field, Peterson finishes the job. Let's bring in Carolyn Corey.
All right, just to update what's going on with the BC Lions. I just spoke with Senator Mike Withacombe. He was looking very deflated coming out in the second half. He says that they've got the tools, but they just can't seem to put it together today, and it's quite indicative of their second half of the season, what's going on here today.
Well, they have really struggled in the final 4 games of regular season play, all losses, being outscored 156-38. And for the 4th time in the last 5 games, they've given up 40 points or more, with today's total of 42 on the board. Here's Wright on the return, but there's a penalty flag on the play, and it looks as though Hensey Charles may be called for another clip, negating a fine run by Chris Wright. Boy, he'd be a tough guy to catch in a phone booth, wouldn't he?
Well, I tell you what, we got some great returners in this league. Pinball Clemens, and I tell you, this Chris Wright is no slouch. He has just done it all. I mean, he had a great game against them last on the 30th. On the 7th of August, he had another great return game, and he's doing it again today. And
Had it not been for Henson Charles here with the illegal clip or illegal block, he'd had another fine return.
Hey, there's going to be another guy wearing number 2 up in Edmonton who's going to be a little upset with you.
Montreal, number 6, first down.
You didn't mention the Gizmo.
Oh, you know I got a special place in my heart for the Giz. He's always giving me heck. Every time we check into the hotel, he comes around and tells everybody I'm on Prozac or something like that. He's just messing with him. I got to have room, special people in my room with me now.
That's the second time that Charles has been guilty of a clip on a return by Chris Wright.
You can see as we get Chris Wright, there's the penalty right there. It's a clip in the bottom right in here. Hit him from the back. The referee will call it every time.
First and 10 Montreal, the Owls at their own 10-yard line. Pringle gets through the first wave of would-be tacklers, breaks another. There doesn't appear to be any stopping this man today. That's about 17 more.
Well, this is a man on a mission right now. He's busts through the line. He breaks tackles. Watch him. He gets his lead block. He's following. He cuts back. He doesn't follow Michael Sauls. He goes back. Now watch. 1 tackle. Wrap him up. Wrap him up. Here we go. Watch this. 2 tackles. Runs through Donnie Wilson's tackle. 3 tackles. 4 tackles. 5 tackles. Finally got 6 guys who have touched him out of 12 on that defense.
193 yards for Pringle. And this time, Pringle was driven back, hit by Chaters. You know, we talked about the rushing performance of Mike Pringle and how he relates to the man who set the all-time record, Skip Walker, 253 yards in 1982. Pringle had 211 yards in 1995. Do you remember that game, Chris?
Well, I tell you what, I think it was against us. Thanks for making me feel so good.
You're probably trying to forget that, but still.
Oh, that was a nightmare.
Ham can't find anybody to throw to, tries to run for a first down, but is going to be stopped short. And the Owls will be forced to send out their punting unit.
See, this is what drives coaches crazy. They'll break down the game film. They'll look at the defense and say, look at this. Doug Chaters' first play, swims the offensive lineman, stops him cold. Second play, they got great coverage. He gets some pressure, force Tracy to run, stop him cold. Why can't you do that all the time? And that's what just makes all these head coaches, the coordinators, go nuts.
Well, Dave Chaters was hoping that his defensive unit would come up with a big game today. They have made some adjustments for this game, but they haven't been able to contain Mike Pringle, just as they were unable to do in the 2 regular season games. Third down kick by Baker, taken by Cunningham at the 38. Oh, he's caught immediately. Talking about special team guys at the half, there's Alan Wetmore in on the stop. No return by Cunningham.
No, you go first, then I move. This is where to be true. This is where to be true to the club and its rulers. No secrets, no lies.
Remember when a promise made was a promise kept? Some places it still is. With Good Wrench service, your lube, oil, and filters done in 29 minutes, or the next one's free. GM Good Wrench service.
I'm hungry.
The football playoffs are here. So bet on Proline.
They definitely have the edge. Because certified general accountants have the qualities that business, governments, and individuals are looking for. You could say that their professional contributions represent valuable assets. In fact, CGAs are highly prized. Perhaps that's why they have such a following. Just 10 of over 25,000 certified general accountants. We're the name brand for business in Canada.
The football playoffs are here. So bet on Proline.
The last CFL game played at Molson Stadium, October 22nd, 1972. Larry Fairholm was a member of that Montreal team. And there's Larry and his son Jeff. He used to come here and watch those games, and Jeff working in the booth with us today. A star in his own right in the Canadian Football League with Saskatchewan, with Toronto. And I'm sure he has many pleasant memories of games of the past here at Molson Stadium. And on the sidelines, Charles Gordon goes down heavily in that gutter that Carolyn Corey referred to earlier in the telecast. That was a bit of a hazard, about 5 yards out of bounds.
Well, I think, in all honesty, what they should have done, and it wouldn't have been very much to do, is covered as they did in the end zones with plywood sheathing and then cover with some turf, because somebody can seriously dislodge an elbow and stuff. Let's watch the play. A little swing pass out here, Philpott. He's going to take it to the right. He's going to try and get to the sidelines. As he's fighting, watch right now. They're driving out. Charles Gordon's running. And you can see face right into there, but also McSeed falling on the back of his elbow, and I think that hurt him more, but nice face plant into the gutter. And we make light of it up here, but I think it's something that should be looked at, because if they're looking to have any future games here, and I think they should, you'd want to have that fixed up.
Well, one of the disadvantages of Molson Stadium compared to Olympic Stadium, there's no roof when it rains, and the rain has started to fall. Over the middle, and Cunningham makes the catch at the 53. Giddings was there to make the tackle.
Well, this is the play they've had success with. Jimmy Cunningham just fakes it, comes back inside, right across, puts everything. They're going to switch coverage right now. Your DBs and your linebackers are going to switch, or Banjo. Somebody's got to pick him up. Nobody does. But hey, he's the one-man guy right here for BC, and you got to keep using him. He's the only guy going to do it.
First down pass to Cunningham, and Cunningham steps out of bounds in front of Doug Kraft with a gain of about 8 yards. So far, Cunningham has been about the only offensive weapon that the BC Lions have had.
Well, what I like is, you know, they got him one time lining up outside a wide receiver, coming across the middle. This time he lines up in a little bit of a slot and goes out. So they got him mixing up, and here's a guy who's only got about 7 practices under his belt, and he's really been asked to do a lot of things and a lot of formations and handling it really well. And you know, it's almost like we talked to the coaches, and they said, we hope that the addition of Jimmy Cunningham will inspire the rest of our teammates to see his work. He's got a tremendous work ethic.
7 receptions for 103 yards so far. Second and 3, and Philpott tries to dive over the top for a first down, and he'll be close.
Nice effort by Corey Philpott going over the left sideline, leaving his feet, determined to try and get that. They're going to measure on it. This is the kind of effort you need to sustain this drive.
You know, we talked about injured BC Lion players. One I neglected to mention, Al Shipman, who was doing the bulk of the work along the ground along with Millington before he too got hurt.
Well, those are 2 big keys. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, look at their average, 1997, 117.2, today 31. And you know that having Millington out of the lineup it's just a tremendous blow to your offense, because your game plan changes. And you hope somebody can pick it up. They just haven't been able to do it.
Well, in the August 30th game at Olympic Stadium, the wild affair that was won 34-33 by Montreal, Millington ran for 137 yards. Third down gamble for the BC Lions. Philpott has the first down as he got to the 40-yard line.
Nice surge by that offensive line coming off the ball. Just follows Terrace at Alwanabe, and you can see Alwanabe is getting up a little sore right now. He's having real trouble, and he's had some knee problems. Good surge right there. Hey.
So it is a first down for BC. But Alwanabe is going to require some help and will have to go out for at least 3 plays.
Well, this is a blow from Adam Rita said this is the guy that will play through most pain. You have a hard time getting him off the field right now. And did you not tell me that he was drafted?
He was drafted as a soccer player by the Vancouver 86ers. And I hear that David Braley, the owner of the BC Lions, is taking a long, hard look at taking over the 86ers soccer team. Now, Wannabe initially was a pretty good soccer player before he turned his attention to football.
Well, I knew he was a heck of an athlete. You know, anytime he could do that and run around.
Much like yourself as a hockey player.
Well, you can see right here, here's a surge, and you can see right there, he's down the bottom of your screen right now, and guys are rolling, and anytime you get in a pile-up, especially short yards, your limbs are going to be in endangerment. You know, you got to really be wondering about this, because he's really walking quite gingerly and not putting a whole lot of weight on that. And you can only hope that it's not a knee, and it's okay.
Now, Wannabe was hoping to become one of the rare breed who could claim to be both a Super Bowl champion and a Grey Cup champion. He won a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins in 1991 and was hoping that that same success would follow him to a Grey Cup championship in 1997 with the BC Lions. Todd Furtick, number 59, comes on as his replacement.
Who has started a number of years before Wannabe came back.
8:35 remaining in the third quarter. Damon Allen throwing out into the flat, and he's got Shaw for a first down as he takes it inside the 20-yard line. Shaw's a big target, 6'3", 215 pounds.
Yeah, rookie out of SFU. He does a nice job. What I like about him is, you know, he does a nice job, gets the ball, and then he's got the nose. He knows, run north and south, go through somebody. Don't try and make fancy moves. You're that big and tall, you're not going to give him the leg and take it away. So run him over.
First and 10 for the Lions from the 19 of Montreal. 42-12, the Alouettes lead. Allen looks down at the 5-yard line for Shaw. Touchdown.
Well, that looked pretty easy. And I don't know if, you know, the crowd is kind of wondering a little bit, scratching their head. I know they got a big lead, and maybe Montreal's kind of relaxing a little bit here, but BC made it look pretty easy walking down the field like that, hitting Shaw on consecutive catches.
Tom Europe and Mazzoli were having an exchange of words as Shaw dove into the end zone after taking the pass from Damon Allen. First, Allen went to Shaw over on the right sidelines, and then right back to Shaw on the left side of the field. And Shaw takes it into the end zone for the major score.
Well, I like the fact that they're using somebody else other than Jimmy Cunningham on the receiving core here, so maybe that'll open it up a little bit for him.
They're going for the two-point convert, and they're going to get it with Philpott. So it's now a 42-20 football game with 7:36 remaining in the third quarter. The BC kickoff when we return.
You've never driven it. You've never seen it. You're about to choose a car strictly from data. The stuff of instruments, gauges, stopwatches. Fortunately, that car is the all-new Mazda 626. The all-new Mazda 626, retooled, refined, reborn.
Need auto insurance, huh? Why not call Direct Protect from the Cooperators Group? With Direct Protect, fast and easy auto insurance is as close as your nearest phone. You'll get friendly, expert advice from an insurance specialist like me. In fact, our team of insurance specialists are ready to help you now. And make sure that you get the coverage that's right for you. It'll only take a few minutes to get a free, no-obligation quote right over the phone. We can provide coverage right away. You could even save money. And when you insure your auto and home with Direct Protect, you save an additional 5% on both insurance premiums. And it's as easy as picking up the phone. Here, take my card.
Direct Protect. Fast, easy insurance from the Cooperators Group. Call for a no-obligation quote today. 1-800-810-4990.
Trevor Shaw with back-to-back passes for his first touchdown as a professional. And with the two-point convert by Corey Philpott, it's now a 22-point football game. Who knows if the BC Lions could score something quickly again in this third quarter. they might make a game out of it.
You know, now you come back and you think how much those 2 fumbles by Damon Allen that turned into touchdowns will come back to haunt them.
Difficulty for Heppel picking the ball up, but he grabs it at the 36-yard line, and there is also a penalty flag. A 40-yard kickoff, 9 yards on the return.
Well, they're going to call holding against Montreal, and that's going to push them deep in the pocket. And if you're BC,
Montreal 23, first down Montreal.
If you're BC, this is what you're looking for. You want to put a hole and hopefully keep in a hole. Here's Damon Allen. You can see just rolls out, goes across his body. Nice job by Trevor Shaw. Coming inside of Torrey Hunter's tackle, taken to the end zone. Smelling that pay dirt. You'll like that effort right there by the rookie.
And then the 2-point convert with Corey Philpott. And that's...
And they might have got away with something on that 2-pointer because they had some pick plays working over there on the other side.
First and 10 from the 20. The handoff to Pringle. This time he's met right in the hole. Good solid hit by Harry Van Hofwagen.
Well, Harry Van Hofwagen and the big guy, number 76, Joe Fleming. This is what you got to do. Let's go down to Caroline.
Thanks, Chris. It looks like Mo Elawannabe is going to be all right. He's got his helmet back on. He's just popped out some cartilage in that right knee of his. He did start the game with a brace on it in hopes to stop that, but the trainer told me that it happens to him a lot. And as a matter of fact, my knee pops out quite a bit, too.
Well, I hope nobody's hitting you over on the sidelines, Caroline. Williams taking the hitch screen, trying to break tackles, but he's going to be stopped short of a first down. The ball game loose. The BC Lions have got it. The Lions needed something good to happen, and perhaps this is what will get them right back into this football game.
Well, big time play, and again, we talked about this earlier, stripping of the football. Anytime you're going to gang tackle, rip the ball off, give us an opportunity to recover. That's what they do. They get a fumble recovery. They got excellent field position, 28-yard line going in to score.
Joe Fleming was able to grab the football as it came free. Humphreys may have been the man who was able to pull it out of the grasp of Williams just as he was going down.
Well, he was. He tried to tackle him as he came over. He forced the ball to pop out. And as you said, it was recovered by BC.
Damon Allen over the middle to Cunningham with a block. Cunningham takes it inside the 10. Stopped there by Tom Europe.
Well, there's a little liveliness to BC's step right now. They're starting to move. This is a nice job. It's almost a middle screen. He comes across, gets the ball right here, and you'll see Lyman down the field throwing blocks. That's what you got to have. And he's got a nice burst of speed to break it in.
It will be first and goal for BC from the 9-yard line.
8 catches, 122 yards, and a touchdown already coming.
Jamoka comes into the ball game, replacing Philpott. Damon Allen steps up. He could run for the touchdown. He's going to be stopped at the 2 by Tom Europe.
Nice job by Damon Allen running the ball here right now. You know what? I've watched him a little bit today, and what I've seen him do is he hesitates sometimes. Sometimes it looks like he wants to run, then he pulls it down, then he doesn't run, then he decides to run, and it's too late. This time he sees it, nothing there. He hesitates, and he takes off. This is what Damon Allen does well. This is what he's got to do now.
It will be second and goal from the 2. Philpott comes back into the ball game. Jamoka goes to the bench. I'll tell you, if the Lions score here, this game isn't over, folks. Some movement at the line of scrimmage. Allen fumbled the football, but managed to pick it up and score the touchdown.
Well, that's the one time he's fumbled that it worked his way. I mean, he dropped it again. That's the 3rd time. I don't know if that was just a bad snap or he pulled out a little early, but he dropped the ball, and he's lucky, very fortunate to get it back in his hands and have the presence of mind to follow that big offensive line and get into the end zone. And as you said, this game is turning a little closer than most people would have thought at halftime.
And they're going for 2 points again. It worked successfully the last time.
You can see the touchdown plunge. He drops the ball, gets it. Now let's give the offensive line some credit. They didn't allow the defensive line in there. They had no opportunity to recover it. Because of that surge, he was able to pick up the ball and score a touchdown.
There seemed to be some confusion on the part of the Lions, and they have taken a timeout.
Well, I think that's a smart call. Don't go in there and make a mistake that may go back and haunt you the other way. It's 2 points. Go over, confer with Rita, confer with Hufnagel, find out what you want to do, make sure you're all on the same page. You can see the touchdown right here. Allen's calling signals. Gets the ball, drops it, but good surge. Mantika taking the guy out there, allowing him to get the ball. Damon Allen goes where the hole was. Scores the touchdown.
Damon Allen out of the shotgun in this two-point convert attempt. Allen may have to try and run it in. He's got room. He'll score. Well, the BC Lions come right back, and they have narrowed the gap to 14 points with 4:29 remaining in the third quarter. The BC kickoff when we come back.
Football fans, it's time to make the call in Ford Rangers Touchdown Drive Sweepstakes. Call now and name the 2 CFL teams who'll play in this year's championship. You could win tickets to the big game and a new redesigned 98 Ford Ranger. Ford Rangers Touchdown Drive.
I fry bacon in the nude.
I rip labels off of pillows.
I sometimes mix colors in with my whites. What about it?
Everyone has a different view of risk.
I sometimes return a video without rewinding it.
At Canada Trust, our breakthrough personal investment program gives us an in-depth understanding of your views on risk, letting us personalize a plan that's right for you. Call now for an appointment.
I golf during thunderstorms, but never on Sundays.
Ceiling fan would help.
Shame. I was growing unusually fond of this lamp.
So I went out and learned all about ceiling fans. I also found out about other ways to make the house more energy efficient. Caulking, weather stripping, insulation.
I'm your biggest fan.
Thank you.
Cut drafts and condensation with crinkle-free Weather Shield Indoor Shrink Insulation Window Kits. Now 25% off.
Football fans, it's time to make the call in Ford Rangers Touchdown Drive Sweepstakes. Call now and name the 2 CFL teams who'll play in this year's championship. You could win tickets to the big game and a new redesigned 98 Ford Ranger. Ford Rangers Touchdown Drive.
Well, if you don't have a ticket, don't worry about it. Crawl over the fence and stand in among the trees and watch the game here at Molson Stadium.
Well, you wouldn't get this kind of entertainment at the Big O, I'm telling you right now. And maybe after when 1972, the last game, they had to move was because everybody did sneak in. They had nobody buying tickets.
I remember when they did play games here back in the 60s, where a lot of the youngsters used to crawl up in the trees in the east end zone and watch the game from that vantage point just outside the stadium. Michael Souls on the kickoff return to the 45-yard line. It will be 1st and 10 at that point for Montreal. A 45-yard return. Well, now I think it's imperative for the Montreal Alouettes, if they don't want to squander that big lead they had at the half, to get something going, because momentum seems to have shifted to BC.
It definitely has shifted a little bit right now. And even on the kickoff, you notice they're squib kicking it. They're trying to keep it away from Chris Wright. Let's give it to somebody else and get down there and gang tackle, and it's working so far for him.
Dave Ritchie's team has been involved in some wild scoring affairs this year. Many times his squad has been the one that has come from behind. Fake to Pringle, dumped off over the middle to Michael Souls, and Souls will pick up about 8. Don Wilson was in on the stop for BC.
Nice little swing pass. Fake it, just give it over the middle right there to Michael Souls and let him use his strength. And he's a big kid too. I mean, you don't really talk about him a lot because he doesn't rush the ball a lot, but he's a load to bring down.
Mike Pringle closing in on his second career playoff 200-yard rushing game. He did it against Winnipeg in 1995 when he was with Baltimore. And Pringle has 200 yards, but there's a penalty flag. It may be called back.
Well, I don't know. I think that somebody jumped offside on BC's defensive line, and that's what they're going to call right now.
Offside. BC 74. Decline. First down Montreal.
Well, Big Dave Chater's got caught, and I know the cadence. Tracy Ham changed his cadence, and Dave tried to anticipate the count, jumped a little bit, tried to get back, but the referee on the far side threw the flag. And look at this run by Pringle. Watch the hit. You want to talk about momentum? He flies for 5 yards in the air after he gets hit. That's how much or how quick he's running right now.
And it's Pringle again as we swing back to live action, and Pringle is down to the 20-yard line.
Well, I hope that he, when an offensive lineman as a running back gets 100 yards, the rule is he takes the guys out for dinner. I don't know what he's going to have to do for this offensive line. Well over 200 yards now. They might be, if they keep going at this pace, they might be getting new cars.
That's a career best for Mike Pringle. 234 yards now, closing in on Skip Walker's record.
The same play, it's a counter, the same thing. They pull a backside guard tackle, and he finds the seam and exploits it for big yardage.
Pringle again, and this time he gets about 3 yards. 2:35 remaining in the third quarter. Well, just when it seemed as though the BC Lions had been rejuvenated and had a new lease on life, they give the ball to Mike Pringle, who destroys them.
Well, go back to your bread and butter. That's what you want to do. And you can see right now Mike Pringle today, 238 yards rushing. Amazing statistic here in the third quarter. We got another quarter to go yet, so we don't know where it's going to end up at.
Ham had a man wide open. Jock Climby was in the end zone. Nobody near him. But Johnny Scott was able to bring him down, bring down Tracy Ham before he could throw.
Well, you mentioned about the thing about the fact that, BC had to do something, or Montreal to pick up the momentum. They did. They started handing the ball off to Pringle. Then they go back to pass. BC, to their credit, does something. Johnny Scott swims this guy, gets in there, and sacks Tracy Ham, and is going to limit to a try for 3 points.
Baker on the first offensive series attempted a field goal for Montreal and was unsuccessful. Graves will hold at the 32-yard line. High snap. This time the kick is good. Graves had to pull that one down, and it's a three-man combination on those field goal and extra point tries. The snap, the hold, and the kick. And it worked this time for Montreal.
You'll never get left out in the cold with MotoMaster, Canada's #1 selling brand of batteries. Available only at Canadian Tire, Canada's auto parts store, made better.
45-28. Montreal now leads British Columbia with 1:47 remaining in the third quarter.
Well, let's see what happens what BC does with the ball this time. They had a nice successful drive last time after forcing a fumble and scored, and successfully converted the two-point conversion.
Three receivers wide to the right. Damon Allen out into the flat. He overthrows Cunningham, the intended target. It will be 2nd and 10 BC.
But the good thing was that Jimmy Cunningham was indeed open. Johnny Scott having another good game in the middle. He's trying to fire up his guys. I tell you what, they talk about the limited size, Don, and I think that's one of the keys that has allowed Montreal's big offensive line to chew up the yards that Mike Pringle has had today.
Damon Allen twice has been a Grey Cup winner in 1987 and 93 with the Edmonton Eskimos. Hoping to get there this year with the BC Lions, but his team is in trouble. Allen throws to the sidelines and got his big target Shaw for another BC first down.
Well, might we be seeing the making of a new Canadian slot back who's going to come up and step up. This is a nice job. I was actually thinking that Damon Allen was going to throw here, but this, Shaw does a nice job of coming back to the ball and also shielding the defensive back away from the ball and making the catch. Nice job by the first-year guy.
Getting an opportunity to move into the lineup with the injury to Alfred Jackson. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 51. In the final minute of the third quarter, on the sideline, it's intercepted. Irvin Smith comes up with the interception, but they're ruling that he was downed at the point where he caught the football.
Well, this is very unfortunate. Irv Smith is covering Jimmy Cunningham. Jimmy Cunningham just slips. You see him right here. Stutter steps, go to the outside. He's going to go, come back to the ball, slips. As he slips, allows Irv to come back and react to the football. Actually, the ball gets trapped on Cunningham's shoulder pad, which doesn't let it go to the ground and allows Irv to pick it up and get an easy interception for him.
Yeah, I think it actually bounced off the helmet shoulder pad area and was more or less smothered by Irvin Smith for the interception.
Yeah, most of the times, in 99 of 100, that ball is going to fall down on the ground and be this incomplete pass. But the way things are going today, it's an interception.
23 seconds remaining in the third quarter. A fumble on the exchange as Ham tried to give it to Pringle, and it's recovered by Virgil Robertson of the BC Lions. So BC gets another opportunity with 14 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Well, this is what you got to do. And again, they just get good search from the defensive line. Watch right here. Gives the ball to Pringle. Mishandles it. Just did not put it in the belly. That's something they probably do 100 times a practice. And yet you'll see sometimes in a game, one will go astray, and that's what will happen. The ball will pop out. Allows BC to get some life.
First and 10 for BC from the 40 of Montreal. What a wild scoring affair this Eastern semifinal has been. And we've still got just a little over 15 minutes remaining. This should be the final play of the third quarter. Penalty flag on the play. Swing pass to Corey Philpott. He's got some room for a first down. And he drives to the 25.
Well, I like this play. I tell you what, I think they should be using this a lot more. Get Corey Philpott one-on-one with the linebacker. Swing him out to the outside. Let him get some open field. Dump him to pass and let him run.
Offside. 57 Montreal. Decline. First down.
Alfred Payton trying to jump the count right there.
And that's the final play of the third quarter. And to start the fourth, the BC Lions will be in scoring position.
Whoever it was who said that the accounting profession isn't very colorful, or thought that financial management doesn't ignite passion, or hadn't heard that certified general accountants bring strong business skills to all kinds of organizations, just got the message. Just 13 of over 25,000 certified general accountants. We're the name brand for business in Canada.
Group, this is Brian, a new member of the Sprint Canada family.
Hi, Brian. Yeah, hi. I don't know if I can do this no restrictions long distance. I'm used to calling on Tuesdays, only Tuesdays. I have a schedule.
Just let it go, Brian. From now on, it's
any day, anytime, to anywhere in Canada. Just 15 cents a minute.
Get the most for the least from Sprint Canada. Call 1-800-THE-MOST today.
I've worked long and hard on this schedule.
That was a complete disgrace out there. To me, to you, to everybody who's ever worn this damn uniform. This is a 60-minute war. You want to see 110%. If you can't give me that, you won't be going. Refuse to lose. You guys are the conference champions. Play like winners, damn it!
You could win a trip to the Super Bowl. Look inside cases of Bud or call this number for no purchase entry.
15 minutes remaining in this Eastern semifinal at Molson Stadium in Montreal, with the Als leading 45-28. Canadian Tire statistical story shows it's been a wide open football game. Turnovers resulting in 2 Montreal touchdowns, and basically right now that's the difference in this football
Well, that's the difference, and this is the difference right here. The fact that they're running the ball so effectively for 236 yards, which results in this. You're eating clock up, and you got to get, for BC to get back in the game, they need the ball, and they got to do something when they do have it. They've got to stop Mike Pringle. I know they've got a lot of yards on him already, but they've got to shut him down the rest of the way for them to have a chance.
First and 10 from the 25 to start the fourth quarter. Damon Allen rolls out to his right, throws to the sidelines, and he was looking for Shaw again. It will be second and 10. Jeff Garcia getting ready for his semifinal date with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Calgary Stampeders will take on the green and white in the second half of our playoff doubleheader immediately following this game. They're looking looking for a good crowd at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. They've been treated to a wide-open, exciting football game here. The first time since '72 that the CFL game has been played at Molson Stadium in Montreal. Damon Allen flushed out of the pocket. McSee just got enough of him, trip him up.
Well, that's what you got to do. I mean, they're running stunts. Payton and Birch are running twist patterns down there on the offensive line, trying to confuse them, put some pressure on Damon Allen. He does the right thing, pulls the ball down, takes off, gets what he can. As you said, had Larry McSee not give him the old ankle grab, he might have gone for a whole lot more. You can see him running twist right there. You put a little pressure and nice tackle, shoestringer. Watch Alfred Payton. We talked about him a lot. Here he's doing a twist. Guy just runs him around the pile. That's what you want to do. You want to come inside, you're going to pay the price.
Lou Pasaglia, the 22-year CFL veteran with a 31-yard field goal attempt. It's wide. And right in the end zone is going to take some time off the clock before stepping out the back for a single point.
Well, that's frustrating. Louis Pasaglia, who's the highest percentage field goal kicker this year, 77.8%, made 35 or 45 coming into this game. And you know, they needed those points. You cannot go down there in opportune or scoring situations and come away with only one.
So now on the sidelines, Damon Allen conferring with Adam Rita about what they will try and do the next time they get the football. But now they have to try and stop the Montreal Alouettes.
That is a great seat, eh? I'll tell you what, I want to know what they charge for that ticket, because that's way up there.
And he doesn't have binoculars either. Molson Stadium on the campus of McGill University, and wherever they're watching from, they have been treated to an outstanding performance by Mike Pringle. 11 more yards. He is now just 5 away from breaking the record of Skip Walker for a single game rushing performance in the playoffs.
And gee, Don, I wonder if he's going to get it, you know?
I think I might lay off. Here's Pringle again. This time he only has about 2. I said he was only 5 yards away. My arithmetic isn't quite correct. Now he's about 5 yards away from breaking the record. I think he's now got 249.
Well, I don't think the end result is any more not in doubt.
Bill Harcourt, who is the head linesman, was injured on the sidelines. I really don't know what happened over there.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of action over there, and unless he just caught himself on the turf or turned his ankle or knee. Looks like he's grabbing his knee.
I think he's back the other side.
So with a backup official on the sidelines, he will now be pressed into duty with the injury to Harcourt.
Looking for the ultimate combination of features and utility? Introducing the Dodge Caravan Plymouth Voyager Family Value Package. With air conditioning, dual sliding doors, 3-liter V6 engine, and 7 passenger seating. All at a price that will give you the most popular minivan on the block.
Our education system simply isn't working. The time for change is now.
The Ontario government has a plan to reform education, a back-to-basics curriculum, more teacher time with students, an end to larger classes, province-wide testing, understandable report cards, more parental involvement. Reform can't wait any longer. The status quo is simply not an option. Our kids deserve better. For your copy of the plan, call 1-800-837-1077.
This is Cliff Chatterton of the War Amps. I've known Megan since she was 3. This is your new swimming arm. This is the sport hand that goes with it, okay? She was enrolled in Champ after a terrible car crash cost her an arm. Show kids you care. Be a part of the War Amps Drive Safe campaign.
Drive safe.
years ago, Skip Walker of Ottawa etched his name into the CFL record book with a 253-yard rushing performance against the Hamilton Ticats. His name may be erased this afternoon by Mike Pringle, who is now just 4 yards away from moving past him on the all-time playoff list. Actually, you need 5 yards to move past him, 4 yards to the top. Tracy Ham looking to throw, can't find anybody. Now he has a convoy and he'll decide to run. First down, Montreal.
Well, you gotta love the agility of this big offensive line. Get some pressure, forces Tracy to the left, forces to the right. Then they're still on their feet. They're still running around trying to find somebody. And he leads them around. Watch this. He takes it past. He's looking just straight drop back. He's got all kinds of time. Then finally something falls down. He can't see nothing. So now he's got to scramble. Now he's got to try and find something on their goal. His receivers are changing their routes now. There's see Big Neil Fort. He's just going to fall in his hip pocket right now. Take it down. Another first down and eat some more to clock up.
Pretty good agility and speed for two big offensive linemen, Fort and Dixon leading the way. Here's Pringle to the 45-yard line. Well, is it going to be 4 or 5 yards on that carry for Mike Pringle? If it's 5, he's got the record with 254 yards.
Well, it looks like 5 to me, and you can see it right now, just a straight ahead play. Everybody's coming. You can see Mike Souls come in there. Great job on Johnny Scott. Lock bomb being taken totally out of the play. Mark Dixon.
Talking about Mark Dixon, you were amazed that he was able to play this game after having surgery on his knee 7 days ago. He had the knee scoped and he's out there playing. He was determined to perform in this Eastern Semi Final.
Well, I think it's remarkable. I've had 3 times I've had my knee scoped. Here's a guy that weighs 290 pounds. And I mean, to come back after 1 week, when you think about all the weight and the momentum and the twisting that's going to be on that knee, it's just remarkable.
And they just announced that it is a playoff record for Mike Pringle here at Molson Stadium as he moves past Skip Walker of the Ottawa Rough Riders, a record that had stood since 1982.
Well, you can see him right here. He's going to get the ball. Here's his record run. Gets the ball, eyes straight ahead, looking for the hole. He doesn't even falter step. He goes where the hole is designed. There's not looking around. There's none of that happy feet thing, trying to find a hole. He knows where it's going to be. He's got confidence in his O-line. I guess you would if you got 250 yards rushing. But then he just hits it.
Now, what's the deal? Does he have to take the O-line out for dinner?
Oh, boy, I tell you what, if I was on that O-line, and I might become their agents after today, they better be getting some big stuff. Maybe over Magnons for some prime rib.
Second down play. Ham throws to the sidelines, and Jock Climbing has another Montreal first down with 11:29 remaining. The official attendance this afternoon has been announced as 16,507 here at Molson Stadium. That's just about capacity.
Well, you know, these people are enjoying it. We've talked a lot of them out. We were walking around, Don, and everybody says, we wish it was here all the time. They love the atmosphere here. We talked about it in the opening. It is electric. It's open. And we talk about the smell, but it is. This is playoff football. It's good football, and this is the way it's being meant to play.
Here's Pringle going to the outside and picking up 4 more. Tracked down by Maurice Kelly.
Well, another fine job. He does it so many ways. You see the kids there, and they're just standing around there. They should open a concession stand right here because...
Or give them a rake and have them clean up the leaves.
Well, there you go. But somebody has to pay them then, huh? Maybe a man of your magnitude, those big checks, you could probably afford that, but...
I did enough at home this year, thank you. 10:42 remaining in the third quarter. Second and 5. Over the middle to Coleman. Coleman slipped as he attempted to make a move, but he's got a first down at the 25-yard line.
Well, they talked about Montreal's offense earlier in the year being kind of bland, blasé, predictable. But one of the things I like, they put Pringle to the outside. They bring Milt Coleman from the outside inside. Just comes across the middle. He's wide open. We saw this early in the first quarter. Trips up, limits the gain to 5 yards, but gets a first down anyway.
First and 10 now from the 25-yard line. Pringle again. This time trying to go up the middle. He's caught by Fleming and thrown back. But he'll add to his record with about 3 more yards.
I got a question for you, Don. Is 300 yards out of the question?
Not the way he's been running.
I mean, that would be a mark that might stand a test of time.
262 rushing yards right now for Mike Pringle. Movement at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, most definitely procedure.
Illegal procedure. Montreal 53. Second down repeated.
Okeke was the man who moved.
Well, you can see the defensive line on BC are shifting around. They're trying to give him a different look on the offensive line right here. They're moving, and you'll see right here, he's just going to just fluctuate, come out of a stance just a little bit early. When you're on the outside of the tackle position, you're going to get caught most of the time.
One of the problems you do have when you don't have the same type of security as normally exists is some of the more exuberant decide to become part of the contest rather than simply be spectators. But I'll tell you, one of the security people really put a good hit on one of those fans in the end zone, and he may be wishing he had decided not to run on the field.
Well, it disrupts the game, and, you know, I understand the fans want to have a great time with it, and deservedly so. But, I mean, let the game go and then go on the field. After the game, jump out, congratulate your team.
Doubling their seasonal rushing average with an outstanding individual performance by Mike Pringle. Ham throws to the sidelines. Penalty flag on the play. Williams makes the catch and takes it out of bounds for about 7. It looks like it's a holding call against Montreal.
It's kind of a tough call because the ball was already thrown, and after the ball was
holding. Montreal 53. Second down repeated.
Back-to-back penalties against Okeke.
Well, if you're going to get your name on TV, do something. And, you know, he's got some friends and family watching, so you can see he's in the bottom right here again. Just going to come up. He's got his hands coming out wide. Johnny Scout, a nice inside swim move, and Mike Pringle has to come up and help him, but he's already got the claw right around his legs.
Well, the winner of this game will take on the Toronto Argonauts next Sunday at Skydome in Toronto in the Eastern Final, and with the moment, it's looking as though it's going to be the Montreal Alouettes making the trip to Toronto. And we remind you, immediately after this game, it is going to be Calgary and Saskatchewan in the Western semifinal. Pringle, the ball carrier, picking up maybe 1.
And a nice job of B.J. Gallus. They've been picking on him early with the counter. He does a nice job of coming underneath the block and limiting that gain to 1 yard, as you said, Don.
8:32 the time remaining here at Molson Stadium. 45-29, Montreal leads, and Terry Baker with his 3rd field goal attempt of the football game. He's 1 for 1, missing in the first quarter, connecting in the 3rd.
Well, they like him. He's a veteran. He's been here before. He's been in the playoffs. He knows what's expected of him. He knows it's all mechanics. And his teammates have great confidence in him.
A 43-yard attempt, and Graves had difficulty with the exchange from center, throws to Souls, but Souls is stopped at the 34-yard line. So maybe getting someone to properly pin the ball has been the biggest part of Terry Baker's problem. In semifinal at Molson Stadium in Montreal, they're getting set to start at McMahon Stadium in Calgary in the Western semifinal. A problem with the hold from Marvin Graves is he never did get a good grip on the ball to put it on the kicking tee. And when he finally got it pinned, Terry Baker was already too far advanced, so Graves flipped it out to Michael Soles, and the resultant turnover gives BC possession. To Corey Philpott. Philpott with a nice move to work his way up to the 47 for a first down.
Well, this is something that I thought BC should have done a lot more of earlier on in the game. Stretch the defense, and by that I mean swing Corey Philpott. He's got great speed. He's a good open field runner. Give him the ball. Let him do what he does best. You can't wait to the fourth quarter to do this. You can see this. He just swings it over right here. Let the rush. Give it to him. He makes a nice one-handed grab right here. And then he makes some nice moves. You know, it goes inside of Charles Gordon, and Stephon Reed comes over and makes the tackle, but that's what you got to do.
This time, Damon Allen rolls to his left, and Damon Allen is going to take off and run for another BC first down.
Well, that's the first time I've seen Damon action just take off without any hesitation. I'm going to run. He goes outside, almost like a naked sweep by him, and you see he just gets a snap, takes the ball, and goes. Here he goes. They got the corner. He sees from his field of vision. He's got the corner. He just takes off. Giddings can't catch him. 8 rushes, 51 yards today for Dana.
Out of the shotgun on first down. Over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Shaw, and Giddings, the linebacker, was right with him.
Well, Giddings and Torrey Hunter. I don't know about throwing into double coverage like that. Sometimes I think you can't telegraph your pass. I think you got to try and go with what works. You've had success with Philpott, go back with him.
Now they're retaping the left ankle of Mike Pringle.
Well, you'd almost wonder, Don, at this stage of the game, would it not be better just to take him out of the game? He's got the record. He's had a great game.
Damon Allen still on his feet. Oh, and he took a pounding before he finally was brought down by Stephon Reed.
Well, he took a pounding, and it almost looked like Alfred Payton got a bit of a face mask on him. You can see him right here. Just a shotgun position, trying to look for something, stepping up in the pocket, trying to find something. Evades. You can see Peterson misses him. Now watch, right there you see Alfred Payton rake his face mask with his hands. Very lucky, didn't call. You can see Damon's crying for it right there. And I don't mean crying, I mean he's complaining about it. They got away with one right there, Montreal did.
Caravata stands at his own 47-yard line for this third down punt. Chris Wright waits for it back at the 12. It's a fake. Caravata is going to throw. He's got Trevathan open. First down.
Nice job. That's what you want to do. Good. You got to be excited. Caravata gets a chance to come in the game as he's a punter, but he's also the backup quarterback. Dave Ritchie can't believe it. He's shaking his head. But you can see Caravata's looking. He's trying to see. They've obviously scouted this in films that they return team for Chris Wright likes to turn their backs and get back into the wall. He just finds Trevathan coming to the outside, hits him with a nice pass, and they get a first down.
6:25 remaining. First and 10 BC. They are at the 40 of Montreal. 4 receivers go wide to the left. Allen rolls in that direction, and over the middle for Trevathan. He's got a first down and more. Trevathan gets inside the 10-yard line.
Well, they send everybody out of the backfield. They're running all kind of patterns. Philpott just goes a gain of 32 yards by Trevathan on that play, but he finds the open seam right over the middle because there's confusion. He creates confusion by scattering the receivers. Trevathan makes a nice catch. He's wide open in the middle. The linebackers had gone to cover the running backs. It turns into a nice game.
First and 10, or first and goal for the DC Lions. Allen from the shotgun. He loses the football. Montreal is recovered. Peterson comes up with the ball. Mazzoli was wide open in the end zone, and Allen couldn't get it there, and that might be all for the Grey Cup hopes of the DC Lions. Remaining at Molson Stadium in this Eastern semifinal, 45-29. Montreal leads. Damon Allen has put the ball on the ground 3 times. Twice it has been taken into the end zone for a touchdown. He had Mazzoli wide open in the end zone, but he was stripped of the football on the hit by Larry McSeed, and Doug Peterson recovered.
Well, that's just frustrating. The offensive line did everything they could possibly ask for by giving all the time roll. As you said, Mazzoli was wide open, didn't see him. That's one of those situations we talked about earlier. Maybe take off at the ball. Get with Jar. You're in positive area of the field. Don't turn it over.
B.J. Gallus brings down Tracy Ham for a loss back at the 12-yard line. Had BC put it in the end zone there with over 5 minutes remaining, they still had life.
Well, they probably would have gone with true to form 2-point conversion again. But, you know, you're looking at about a 10 to 11-point game, and that's a lot of time in the CFL.
3 fumbles, 2 interceptions by Damon Allen this afternoon. Second and 17. Jumped off to Michael Soles. Bruce Beaton was out front leading the blocking, but there were just too many BC jerseys around him, led by Gallus. Let's bring in Carolyn Corey.
Yeah, just to update the status of Mike Pringle, they had retaped his ankle after that last offensive series. Apparently he has a bit of a bad ankle, so they just retaped it, and Coach Ritchie was certainly wondering if he was going to be okay, and it looks like he'll probably end on the next series, though he is hobbling a bit now. They were stretching out his hamstring as well on the bench just a bit ago.
Well, depending on what happens on the next series, they might be wise to keep him on the bench.
I think he's done enough, Don, and I think he's probably blown his runners. That's what happened. He blew those running shoes. We wore them so much.
He wore out the soles with his performance this afternoon. Third down punt by Terry Baker, and a couple of Lions came close to get it. It bounces out of bounds at the 48-yard line. A 38-yard punt by Baker.
Never get left out in the cold with MotoMaster, Canada's #1 selling brand of batteries. Available only at Canadian Tire, Canada's auto parts store, made better.
3:58 remaining. Right now, the Lions desperately have to strike quickly.
Time is of the essence, Don, and if they don't do it now, you're going to see a lot of hanging heads.
The shotgun swings it out to Corey Philpott. Philpott trying to make some guys miss, but he's brought down by Stephen Reed at the midfield stripe. A pickup of 8 yards, 7 yards, make it 2nd and 3.
Aside from Jimmy Cunningham, and we got to mention Trevor Shaw, Philpott swing passes have been the most productive thing for this BC offense. We've mentioned before, they got to stay with it. Stay with what works and don't improvise.
Second down, Cunningham has it for a first down at the 42.
Nice job by Jimmy Cunningham. You see it right now. He's not even fooling anybody. Just going to come inside, puts Irv in a chase position, makes a nice catch, tackled right away, but positive yards and a first down results.
3:03 the time remaining. Cunningham has been the big receiver with 139 yards.
You might not be amiss in that statement, re-mourning, because I think there's a lot of BC Lions over there who will go into mourning right now. And this is probably, as a football player, one of the worst feelings. You're looking at the clock, you know you're down by a certain amount of points. There's only 3 minutes left. It's just disheartening. You know your season's almost over, so it's just starting to sink in now.
We'll be back with the first down play of the BC Lions right after this.
You know, there's a remarkable new tool right now at Canadian Tire that makes a lot of existing tools seem outdated. I'm talking about RoboGrip pliers from Mastercraft. You see, RoboGrip's special design allows it to self-adjust to most any size job with a simple squeeze of the handles.
That's right. No screws or levers to set. Just squeeze and turn. Plus, it's spring-loaded for one-handed operation, not like these regular pliers.
And it comes in 2 sizes, so it's perfect for most any job. Rounded nuts, pipes, flat surfaces, irregular shaped objects. And its offset head allows for easy access to those tight spots.
And RoboGrip's laminated jaw construction makes it so strong, it comes with a lifetime warranty.
The new self-adjusting Mastercraft RoboGrip is so versatile, you'll find it indispensable in your house, your garage, even in the garden. So don't wait. Get your RoboGrip pliers today. Available exclusively at Canadian Tire.
They definitely have the edge. Because certified general accountants have the qualities that business, governments, and individuals are looking for. You could say that their professional contributions represent valuable assets. In fact, CGAs are highly prized. Perhaps that's why they have such a following. Just 10 of over 25,000 certified general accountants. We're the name brand for business in Canada.
The Montreal Alouettes established a club record this season with 13 victories. They need one more to send them into the Eastern Final against the Toronto Argonauts, and they are 3:05 away from knocking off the BC Lions. They lead it 45-29. First and 10 for BC from the 42. Cunningham coming across the middle, but Allen decides to take off, and Allen is going to run for about 8.
Well, he's doing it what he wants to do. He's trying to find something downfield. Good coverage by the Montreal defensive backs and linebackers running with the receivers. He's got no other choice but to pull it down and try and get some positive stuff. Pulls it down, pulls up 8 yards.
You look back in the last series when they were first and goal from inside the 10-yard line and Damon Allen fumbled. Boy, oh boy, a touchdown there, and we might have had a rather dramatic finish.
Well, story of 3 fumbles actually, Whit.
Second and about 1, and the give is to Yamoka, and Yamoka is going to be stopped short, it would appear. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. Remember, immediately after this game, we'll be going out to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are getting set for their Western semifinal.
Well, you have no other choice but to go for it with this, with only 2:40 something ticking on the clock. You got any chance, you got to keep it, get a first down.
Knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Alfred Payton.
Well, he finds key places to turn up his game, and if you don't get to the quarterback, they always talk about putting your hands up. If you can't knock the ball, at least you're in his field of vision. He does both. He gets his hands up and he knocks the ball down, snuffs the drive, and maybe the last lifeblood of the BC Lions.
Payton coming in, getting his hand up to block the attempted pass from Allen to Cunningham.
Well, you see him on Alawannabe, just comes up there, gets his left paw on the ball, and he's excited, and he's going to go over there and go over to the BC bench and kind of, I'm not really sure what he's doing. We might want to get him a bag and some leaves. Maybe he can work with those kids over there. It looks like he's scraping up leaves, but that isn't the praying mantis he showed us earlier. He must have a whole bag of moves.
Michael Souls, the ball carrier, and Souls breaks into the open. Inside the 35, a 45-yard gallop for Michael Souls.
They are just doing a number. I'm telling you what, right now, folks, that offensive line is kicking some booty right now. They're knocking people back. You see Souls, it's just a dive play. Everybody's man on man. You can see Lockbaum being taken out. He actually stumbled. He's so wide open. Michael Souls is not used to getting this much open room in the open field, and he's dragging a contingent of BC Lions down with him.
And at the finish of that run, he had both hands on the football, making sure it didn't pop away. Michael Souls again, and they are wisely keeping Pringle on the bench.
Well, I think it's a smart move. He's done everything you could possibly ask out of a running back. He's basically one-man wrecking crew out there. And again, I know I'm an offensive lineman and I love these guys, but you know what? As good a running back as Mike Pringle is, and he is a great running back, that offensive line deserves full kudos today because they've done an excellent job along with Michael Souls of opening up superior holes that I even think, Don, you could get 200 yards rushing today.
You're stretching a point there, Chris. Wetmore in there in place of Pringle. Souls the ball carrier. He loses it. The BC Lions have it. 1:45 the time remaining. B.J. Gallus comes up with the ball.
Well, the only blemish on his day today, fumbling the ball, you know, he's not happy about it. Him and Tracy are walking out the field talking about it, but there's not going to be much unpleasantry. They got the game. They know they got the victory. They know they're going to Toronto next week for the Eastern Final. They're going to take this one in, take a day off, and get ready for the big one.
And it was the shoulder hit by Kelly right on the football that jarred the ball loose.
Well, we've seen Maurice Kelly stick his nose in there a few times today. He's caused a couple fumbles, and he sent Tracy Gravely to Disney World today.
Knocked down at the line of scrimmage again by number 57.
And there's the praying mantis. You knew that was coming back. You know what? When you're winning like this and you know you got the game, boy, you know, all the pressure just flows off your shoulder. You feel so good. You know you're a minute and a half from going to the locker room and celebrating. It's a great feeling.
Well, Payton was so confident when we talked with him coming into the park today. He felt he would have a big day against the Lions, and he has. This is Dave Donaldson on the receiving end of the throw. And Donaldson, who really is a backup safety, gets an offensive opportunity and takes the ball 38 yards to the 38-yard line.
He looked good. He come across the middle, made a nice catch, he turned it up. The rookie from the University of Manitoba. We don't get much time to talk about these guys, but here's a guy that's a 5-time Manitoba judo champion, so I guess you don't want to mess with him in the locker room.
Damon Allen was looking for Donaldson again. It will be 2nd and 10 with 1:25 remaining.
What'd you get over there? Well, I think Montreal's just going to play a little prevent right now. Don't let the big thing go. They know. Just let them use the clock.
But if the Montreal Alouettes are going to move on, and I don't think there's much doubt about that, they have to be concerned with a couple of injuries today. Tracy Gravely would be the key one, and perhaps Mike Pringle. Sidelines to Cunningham. That should be a first down.
It is nice little out, and I think Cunningham has just played his heart out there. I mean, here's a guy, like you said, 7 practices, come in, he's done everything asked for, returning kicks, returning punts, runs across the middle, is not scared to get hit, takes the outs, comes back to the ball, and catches everything thrown to him.
Well, Dave Ritchie, in talking about this game, said he was looking forward to playing at Molson Stadium. He said, because we are an indoor team with an outdoor mentality. He was referring to the very strong ground game of the Alouettes, and it was the ground game that really dominated today. Here goes Damon Allen, and Allen is going to slide for a first down at about the 13-yard line. 1:14 is the time remaining.
Nice move by Damon again. And he's, you know, everybody at home is saying, how come they're moving the ball so successfully now? And the reason is that Montreal's really not coming that hard anymore. They're playing what's called a prevent. They're kind of just playing protective, conservatively if you want. They're sitting there and they're saying, hey, you know what, you might score, but you're going to give us the ball back. We'll eat the clock up. The game's over.
Damon Allen out of the shotgun. Dumps it off to Philpott. End zone beckons. He's there.
Well, they've run that play 5, 6, 7 times today. Every time positive results. This time a touchdown. I'm sure when they look at this on game film, they're going to say, we should have used this more often. It would have helped us a little bit as far as opening up. You can see Philpott right now goes right through the man. Right through the man. He's not going to be denied into the end zone.
A 2-point convert coming up for British Columbia. Twice they have been successful on 2-point convert tries. Damon Allen ran it in once. He's going to try again. Not this time. Nash and Smith came up to prevent Damon Allen from reaching the end zone. The score holds 45-35.
Well, what looked like a big hole early shut down mighty quick.
You know, the 2 points there, Chris, 45-37, recover a short kickoff. A touchdown and a two-point convert?
Well, you know what, I want to say it couldn't happen, but in this game of CFL football, you know, it's so exciting. The last minute can last an hour, and I think anything can happen. And you're right, that two-point was very important, and Damon did the right thing. I thought nothing was open, tried to take off. He might have wanted to put his head down a little bit more. Don't be so tentative. Let Irv Smith come over and stop him, and well short, 2 yards short of the goal line.
Well, Montreal's history this year, score a lot of points, but they've also given up a lot of points.
Well, they're going to definitely go back, and they will look. They'll be, and I mentioned earlier about BC watching the game film. One of the things when you go into a playoff game, you don't watch the game film. It's history now. The only people that watch it will be the coaches, and the reason they watch is they'll be seeing who played, who didn't play well, and make decisions about training camp and the roster changes they have to make for the following year.
An onside kick attempt by BC, and Chris Armstrong, who was on the hands team for Montreal because of his sure-handed receiving ability, goes up high to grab the football and perhaps preserve this Montreal 45-35 advantage.
But you made a good point, Don, about the fact that, you know, Montreal has given BC some things, and I think Toronto's going to look at what what BC did successfully against them, and I thought that the swing passes were effective, and you know Toronto with Pinball Clemens and Flutie, and they like to do that kind of stuff, so they're really going to have to make some adjustments for next week against Toronto, because Don Matthews' coach football team is a well-coached football team.
Tracy Ham right now is going to take a knee. Penalty flag as Nigel Williams came in a little late.
27, probably on a free tape.
Well, there's a happy guy. He doesn't look happy, but knowing Dave Ritchie, he is very happy about going to have the opportunity.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, BC 14. First down, Montreal.
Well, Rashid Gale was called for the unnecessary roughness. That's what prompted Nigel Williams to come running in there. We have just 54 seconds remaining in this game, and then we'll be swinging out to Calgary, McMahon Stadium, where the Stampeders are entertaining the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a game just about set to get underway, the Western semifinal. .54 seconds remaining. Again, Tracy Ham takes the knee, taking the clock down to 51 seconds.
And Montreal's doing a nice job. What they're doing in this is they have the two fullbacks and the two running backs lined up behind Tracy Ham, and they got Chris Armstrong way back there just in case they mishandle the snap and somebody gets the ball. They got a last line of defense.
I think you've made your point, Alfred. You feel like playing next week.
You got to stop giving Alfred those cue cards.
We're 28 seconds away here from a finish at Molson Stadium in Montreal. They're getting set for the kickoff in Calgary, the second half of our CFL playoff doubleheader, Calgary and Saskatchewan. Mark McLaughlin preparing to kick off for Calgary.
That's Shannon Baker back there. Used to play with him in Winnipeg. One of the things Cal Murphy liked about him was his ability to return kicks.
So the Western semifinal is underway. The Eastern semifinal winding down. And Baker on the return team for Saskatchewan. Gives the Riders pretty good field position for their first offensive series. Just 7 seconds remaining here.
And a nice feeling because you know you're only one game away from where you want to go, and that's the Grey Cup. And, you know, they got to feel pretty good because they were in Toronto last week, and they beat Toronto. They snuffed Toronto's home streak winning stand, and that got to be a huge lift off your back, go to a game like that.
And what a performance by this man, Mike Pringle. Woo! A playoff finishing record. And touchdowns en route. Taking a long time to roll off the clock, but now with Tracy Ham maneuvering back there, that will do it, and Tracy Ham goes down. This game is over. Montreal 45-35 for the BC Lions. Dave Ritchie and his Alouettes next Sunday will be at Skydome in Toronto to take on the Toronto Argonauts in the Eastern Final. The top two teams in the East meeting for the right to go to the Grey Cup in the West. The semi-final battle just underway. Here are Chris Cuthbert and Dave Archer.